tried to upload an emote that was a thick Pepe, and they were like, "No, it's too lewd." Like Pepe was simply too thick, and so like I got punished for it, and they wouldn't let me have follower emotes until I did 80 like days worth of stream time, right?
Damn.
Yeah, it was pretty rough. Anyways, I can do follower emotes now, so.
Such a weird and stupid limitation.
I was so mad. I messaged him about it straight away. I was like, "Come on, Twitch, what are we doing?"
We'll post it up in our Discord. We'll watch it later. Probably not on streamer here, but still waiting on Deckle. What's going on?
Deckle's live.
Are you here? Oh, I haven't heard you go. I haven't heard you. What the fuck?
Yeah, sorry.
Look, Deckle, you know us. You can't just wait for us to stop talking. That could be forever.
Literally. All right then. Does anyone need a recap or anything covered for as far as rules, as far as anything they need for the character?
We didn't level up last session, did we?
No.
Congrats on level 20, boys and girls. We did it.
No, you did not. Stop it. Crix, I would love to see what you would make at level 20 because it would be dysfunctional.
It would be.
Alright, so you guys had finished up with the fancy house that you had been doing, the Estate of Penteru. You had gone back to speak with some folks and look at some of your wares. You had been dealing with that. It had been warned that the that local astrologist had said that there's some sort of event called the Festered Sun that is supposed to be starting that night, but we had basically left off, I believe, right, with kind of wrapping it up, and you had gone to get Heshisharu's well-being done with the, not forgiveness, but amnesty, I suppose, done with the Church of Pharasma, which even though they aren't in charge of the justice in the area, they seem to imply they had some decent sway and such. It does sound like it's going to go to the courts of Owati. And so, and even as you had gone out, some guards had begun questioning who she was, as she seemed a bit odd even to them in all of her hidden garb. But in any case, I suppose, proper sand woman, since she seems to tend to female forms of her creation, but is going to be staying at the House of the Blessed Spirits until her court day, in which point then the Halls of Justice will hopefully see mercy on her, which your Sabti is very confident that they will, given that how she assisted you all, and despite the fact that she was in the end defending a holy necropolis, so didn't do much actual harm to those that wouldn't have received the same punishment. Otherwise, she was kind of quiet about that, just since it's a little bit of a gaming of the system, but even then, Sabti didn't seem that frazzled by it, so.
We literally went from the ruins straight back to the temple, and then the guards started hassling her, right? That's how that worked?
Yeah, you were in there for about an hour, and when you came out there, they were trying to get her to identify herself.
Right. Can someone remind me, did she actually get led away, by the guards, or is she under the... Okay.
Sabti took her into the House of Hallowed Spirits. That's the Pharasman Church. So the cathedral that you've been working out of and doing most of your work out of, she just basically has to stay in there, basically under watch, because they do know she's an evil elemental, or at least not her that she herself is, but her elemental type tends to be rather murderous. So they're wanting to keep an eye on her and see if she actually is any different, or at least will become different. But
where's my phone at? Hey.
Other clips is fine for that, Golden. Deckle, thank you for the resubscription. 8 months, my love.
So, just real quick, I'm just going over loot list to make sure there was anything that I should have put this back in the chat. No, never mind. I'll get back to you about it.
Okay, whatever you need.
Sound like we were pretty much all settling in for the night to rest and recuperate.
Yeah, I would might get some slots back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think someone still had some stat damage we had to wear off or something.
Well, any stat damage you could easily get some lesser restorations. And alright, cool, then you have fun. Because you had the and you also brought good notes on the House of Pentheru again. So
Yeah.
You know, I was going to ask you about. There was a map tube that we never got to look at in that chest. The last thing of that building, and then the actual River Osirian set. We didn't actually get like a proper value, so at some point we should probably get those appraised. But that's about it as far as bookkeeping goes.
Gotcha. Yeah. Griok would, of course, take time to fix their musket.
yeah. As you
He'd
guys do
probably-
leave,
Oh, sorry. Well, also, because I think we were sleeping until the next day, so I was gonna also
Right.
I was gonna send a word to the inn just so she knows we didn't like bail.
oh yeah, because you were sleeping in the barracks, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could easily go there yourself too before you tuck in. It's not like you're. I don't think there was any worry of you guys being infectious. It was more just getting you aid.
Gotcha.
I'm not detracting from what we're doing. I just wanted to quickly say I did post the current loot list in our group chat, just so you guys have it, or in the channel, the Mummy's Mask channel. That's all. Not trying to pull away from it. Let's go.
Any of you who do end up taking any of your night outside, even all around the square, even all around the rest of the town, you can see is the government has put speakers into the areas of intense traffic standing at podiums, where they seem to have assigned public announcers. They seem to be talking about something. You could definitely go listen to those if you want before you go to bed, or you could just. But it definitely seems like they're doing something.
Yeah, sure. If Griok's out sending word to the end, then they'll go listen in.
Yeah, I think Sarik's trying to be less awkward. Now he's spending more time around the living, so yeah, I think I'll go with some more social exposure.
All right, so as you go there, that you can see that the person speaking to all of them, at least the nearest one to the temple, seems to be talking to all the people about what's going to be happening in the following days. That the Astronomers Guild has been working about the unique phenomenon that doesn't follow a yearly path. That is basically They seem to be instructing that the next day you're going to see that the sun is going to look very ominous. It's going to look like it's approaching another. Another eclipse, but they assure you it's not. So you don't need to fear the attention of any evil gods or any of that. But in any case, it seems like the one speaking is an astronomer himself, but otherwise, they mention that, yeah, you're going to see that there's remnants of the former moon of Galarian that are a string of large stones that just fly through the sky. And they cover the sun, which will make it appear spotted as though the sun were covered in sores and sick. But there's nothing actually going to... It'll be dark, and it'll probably be very orange, and the sun itself will seem blackened, but I assure you that is not the actual case.
That sounds really cool to see.
Yeah.
You do also see that there's some people moving about that it seems like there's a pair of robed men that are handing out what look like something out of a crate. Looks like they're handing them to passerbys that stop and talk to them as you realize that they're handing out loaves of fresh bread. Seems like they're doing it for no trade or any of that, they're just handing it out for free. Looks like they're preaching something about some sort of, whereas not directly countering the astronomer, but definitely seem like they're preaching some sort of religious word of an ancient god.
Oh, so like trying to rabble rouse?
No, it looks like they're actually trying to warn people of just they are trying to draw people in that if they want to, they can speak to it and maybe come to they seem to mention a camp of some sort. This is stuff from a distance. You can obviously go closer and actually talk to them.
Yeah.
But
I don't necessarily want to talk to them, but can I just get close enough to just like listen in on what they're saying?
yep. But you can hear that they're talking about an ancient god that had been banned by all the prior pharaohs, and the new Ruby Prince is allowed, and that goes by the name of Anubis. They explain that the old gods will answer that their long dead prophetess has been aggressive in her prayers, but often a lot of her prayers have been answered of what she left to her followers, and while they are her flock, they also know that some of the things she prayed for were very vengeful against those that did not follow his teachings, and they actually don't want that. They seem that they're worried that there's going to be problems ahead during the festered sun, and that much suffering would be coming to Owati. But they seem to be just handing out bread to anyone, regardless of, and then just mentioning that if they do have a camp, if anyone would like to maybe make better bread with Anubis,
if my microphone's
so to
actually
speak, for
working.
their own
I
sake.
hope anybody listening doesn't mind the fact that my microphone's been muted.
But otherwise, if you'd like, you could get some information about the actual festered sun from basically the small crowd and your own potential knowledge of the stars here. So either talking to the astronomers, you could get a diplomacy for like a gather information type role, or a knowledge local. It might get you some more information. Both are the same DCs.
Scuff. All right. Well, now I can talk to you guys.
Talking to people.
Whichever one you want to roll on.
Yeah.
I can choose a chapter that sounds good.
Hey, good first roll of the session.
Way to start it, Griark. Alright, so I'll give you these in order then. So, you would know, baseline, first of all, that the latest round of public announcements is more of a formality than a necessity, since the Festered Sun is already well known here. I mean, you do know that Supti had already mentioned it to you. Owati has even acquired some notoriety among astronomers for having one of its own detect and predict the phenomenon. But despite the reassuring statements, many of the gods of the ancient Osirian say that it's the old gods that protect from the festered sun, but otherwise that there will be mayhem. But even the Astronomers Guild itself is very divided between the faithful and the not. But otherwise, the Astronomers Guild is fairly excited about it. But you know that the Pharasman Church and the government seem less so, as they seem, you know, that they're just more worried about the necropolis and the fact that it's falling at the same time as the necropolis opening. And most common folk that you talk to don't really care, apart from the fact that it's some variant of, that it's a variant of an eclipse, and since eclipses are generally affiliated with the evil gods, they wonder if maybe then, since all the talk of the ancient gods, that maybe the festered is the related to the evil gods in the way that the eclipses are. But you do know with the highest levels of your check, though, that there was a respected gnome astronomer that had found an old scripture that mentioned the unraveling of a curse that would only occur and only be able to be stopped during the coming of the festered sun. But it was deemed ludicrous by his peers and the Pathfinders alike. That, I mean, even most ancient gods would find that far too harsh, since the festered sun is a very rare occurrence, as it's reliant on that patch of asteroids from the dead moon to pass over the sun during its rising over this area. So it's a very specific event.
Interesting.
Assuming that Nikki would have like relayed all this to the group.
Oh yeah, Greg does the time just be like babbling on to you about it.
Do we know any solid information about this particular gnome?
No, not yet. You could go hunting for them potentially.
So they're alive though, like we know that. Like, this is not like a historical figure that wrote something a long time ago.
Yeah, they should be alive. You could potentially go to the Astronomers Guild, or you could seek them out tomorrow, as they're likely to be working. Most likely, a lot of astronomers are going to be out tomorrow with their telescopes to watch and look at it all. So they'll
Yeah.
probably be outside. Since none of them are warning that there shouldn't be any major effect from the sun itself, at least from what all their calculations show. So a lot of them are actually preparing equipment in both the squares and open spaces and flat rooftops.
See how many spell slots I have. You know, I'm feeling a little sheepish. I don't imagine we're gonna get any scraps, but like, okay with not seeking them out today.
Yeah, you could wait till tomorrow. Otherwise, Shanti, probably as she's watching you all kind of out there and kind of talk about it, even stepping outside for a bit and just. Sometimes the festive sun doesn't even really affect much. It usually doesn't fall at any such auspicious days, and if it is fairly normal, we'll probably potentially open the necropolis, but there may be delays.
Well, hopefully it's nothing too bad.
Yeah, she nods. At which point then, well, you'll probably receive your next location at the entry to the necropolis if it seems that we're doing it. Since if we're doing anything with the gates, it'll be there.
Alright.
Well, it seems like she just kind of lingers around the outside of the temple, and she's definitely listening to them as she's paying attention, but seems a little more invested than most of the priests who just kind of wave it off. But if there's anything else you'd like to do this night, you can. Otherwise, if you'd like to go to bed and move on to the next day, you could pass by the, I guess this would be the eve of the festered sun. Ooh, thank you, Katori, for the hydrate. Oh, and Tanuki, thank you for the resubscription. How's it going?
The Tanuki. Yeah.
That actually
Yeah.
reminds me. Cheers.
Rat King.
Cheers on the hydrates, Cursive and Katori.
Yes. Yes.
It was a great old one.
The great horned one.
That's the good part. Oh, I did it bad. For those who don't know, Tanuki is the Rat King.
Does he voice a lot of Skavens for the?
A ton, and he does a really good job with it. I'll have to stream another Site 67 event if I can, or find a good clip of it, because his voice acting is Tanuki. If you ever want to just hang in here, I mean, I'm game. I don't know about the rest of them, but it's like I'm fine with. Yeah, Tanuki is amazing. His voice acting work is superb. Without going on too much of a derail, we had one with rather horrifying zombies the other night that Tanuki literally helped me give PTSD to a lot of our attendees, which was wonderful.
Yes. Mental illness. No, kidding.
Not actual PTSD. That's actually not funny, but it was scary. Super scary.
Remind me to get with you after this, Cursive, about some stuff has to do with VR.
Will do.
Yeah. You joining us, Goblin?
We'll see. First, gotta get a set.
Yeah.
Alright.
I mean, just to hang out.
Yeah, I love just hanging out. We should do more channel hangouts with just invite people, kind of like what we did for the affiliate party. It was fun.
Like whenever I stumbled through a doorway and then found an Australian.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, that was great. You found a random dude singing.
Treble. Oh yeah.
I still talk to him sometimes. Nice guy.
Yeah.
Big
Yeah,
shout out for
he's-
Treble.
Treble plays. Such a good guy. All right. So moving on to the next day then, unless anyone has anything.
No, deferred
Nope.
party.
Cupcake. All right. 10 points if anyone knows what movie ever occurs. All right.
I'm good to go the next day.
What's the
randomly?
name? I'm sorry, I was actually doing some reading. Could you remind me though? What's the name of the? It is relevant to this, I promise. It is a. Fuck, what are they called? The Knoll goddess or god.
The Mashtu.
Mashtu, thank you.
In my
Yes.
online games, she is wed to another goddess by the name of Luriel, who is actually a good goddess.
Okay.
Because Lamashtu in our canon, due to the actions of a campaign that Dekel did a single one, was basically their friend. Basically ended up working towards trying to get Lamashtu to be less evil because she had utterly laid claim to the soul of her best friend she grew up with, and she couldn't free him. So instead, she did the next best thing and tried to make their afterlife tenable.
For future relevancy, is that what's currently like? Is that the canon we're going off of in this campaign? Like,
Yes,
is Lamashtu like seen in a good light in this world?
she's not seen in a good light. She just is seen that she is sometimes tolerated. Luriel is seen in a good light, but she is also sometimes seen as a bad light because she lets evil strive. Because basically, Luriel is the goddess of monsters that want to repent or seek goodness, or at least try to resist their monstrous urges. And not only just monsters, but like she also is like criminals who want to repent. So it's basically it's very big. So monsters in every term of the word. So
yeah, I'm not trying to derail super hard. I was just trying
you're
to remember
good.
the name of the Null God.
I can definitely. I actually have a write up for Luriel since she's a custom one, so that she has effectively a goddess page. I have effectively her symbol and stuff like that. So she even has both a paladin and anti-paladin code. Stuff you can. Which is basically if you're someone who betrays, it's we can talk about it later, but
Yeah.
or I can post it up in the Discord. I was thinking maybe expanding the Pathfinder section. Dude, tapioca balls sound amazing. All right. So, if no one else has anything, then you guys rest in the barracks and get cared for by the nurses of the Phrasman Order. But the next morning comes, and they even bring you some basic hardtack and some water. It's very clear that they're not terribly decadent here for food, but they do also have, as far as it seems that they talk and ask if you've eaten like a decent meal, and if you hadn't, they actually bring what seem to be some basic salted hard-boiled eggs, which seems to be their protein, but it does seem like they alternate with the people who are staying with them. I.e., if you've eaten that the one day, then you don't get it the next. So they definitely ration out what they get. Doesn't seem like they're trying to be stingy. It just seems like they probably deal with a lot of people.
Yeah.
I think actually there was one other thing. I think I'm actually going to unslot resistance and slot mending. Because
Okay.
I remember mending being one of the things we needed for the chest of goods so that we could actually get stuff out of there.
Yes.
So,
You needed mending or make whole, but mending's much easier. Ian that had the really delicate wedding dress.
right.
Yes.
And then it had stuff underneath it that looked like, I think that's where the map was. But
That's
in
right.
any case, from what you can tell, though, the sky still looks ordinary. The sun's risen. There's no sign of any anticipated changes or any sign of the meteors. So most of the morning's going pretty day to day. You would hear from Septi's acolyte that they're actually supposed to be opening the Acropolis.
Hi, Draco.
But they do still have all
Welcome to the
the
channel.
new tokens waiting there, just since they were expecting to close it. So you should be able to check in there.
Just
So
some Pathfinder.
if you don't have any objections,
Nope, I'm good.
Good here.
Just a test roll. But yeah, I'm good.
so takes you a little bit to walk across town back towards the necropolis. The dead city kind of lingering into view as you go down one hill and back up to meet it at the gate. But it's rather unusual as you get there, as instead of checking the group credentials and the guards each letting each group in, you can see as there's a large crowd right outside. Seems like a couple of members of the church are there as they're trying to herd, as they check the credentials and are herding people into an unadorned square hall with small windows carved high. But it looks like once they realize that they're one of the adventuring groups that normally are when they're trying to bring those in and keep other people out.
Monkeys.
Monkeys!
Which you can go in if you like, or you can try to question some other people if you want.
I wouldn't mind finding out more about this gnome.
Oh yeah.
True.
Yeah, if you want, you can do a diplomacy.
Sure.
I'll go help you diplomize.
Can I actually help you? Because I know that you're way better at talking to people.
Yeah.
My idea of helping you is essentially, like whenever you're like, whenever there's like a kid who's being introduced to someone, they like hide behind their parent's leg. It's
Oh, nice.
almost the equivalent of that, but not quite.
Hmm. You should just stand there and nod like Silent Bob.
Yeah, there you go. I'll do that.
You might do better than me.
No, for sure
Nope,
not.
Womp womp.
Womp womp.
Yeah, so unfortunately, no one there around there. You do hear from a couple of people, some of the guards mention that they do know someone important is supposed to be coming to speak to all of the adventurers shortly as soon as they get here. They should just be moving around town, so maybe that's the one you're looking for.
Oh, somebody important. Yeah. Well, let's go see what's up.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
React.
Can I do one thing passively, Cursive? I don't really want to detract. Could I just like at some point before we went to sleep, or maybe like before we did all this, hop by a store and just grab a healer's kit? I'm sure it's a very common thing around here.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
You just mark down the gold, but
Yeah, I'll look up all the stuff and subtract it.
yeah. So most of the guards are, looks like more of them are guarding the gates and mentioning that they're not going to be, that they are locking down the necropolis, but they are trying to ask that any of the groups go into the hall as as a city official should be coming by to talk to everyone. So if you go in there, it seems like you do recognize most of the other groups are here. There does seem to be a section of it that is particularly dark, that looks like it's being almost magically darkened until you realize that the group with those exotic looking people even seems to be in here just kind of watching. But otherwise, there's no real seats. It just seems like it's kind of a makeshift one, as this building was most likely abandoned in most uses. Doesn't look like most of the furniture has seen use in quite some time.
All right. I'm gonna sit up on Char.
Mhm. Easily done.
I mean, I could just put you on my shoulders if you want.
Good, but here I can pet Char.
He's a good dog.
True.
Gabriel, no shanking the church peoples, but I will give you an ada ada. Little cutie. But
Yeah.
all right. But you are still left here waiting for some time and probably making small talk with some of the other groups. Some probably the one kind of boisterous one from the bar. They're recognizing you and even kind of just like, you weren't there last night. We were playing some drinking games. It was great. They had brought in some some Arisian witch brew. It was wonderful. You missed it.
Yes. We were trying to make sure our heads didn't pop off.
What?
Oh, it was haunted. Don't worry about it.
As you make some small talk for about an hour, you do see that there is a rather distinct shift as the high windows are letting in just some light seeping in that just kind of casts across the high walls. You do see as a very distinct orange hue tints the whole chamber. But without even much of a check, you do show that many of the adventurers seem to be getting kind of uncomfortable. A few seem to sit down and even start passing out fairly quickly.
Could I do a perception check or something to see why?
That'd be a heal check.
Okay.
But yes.
Do I need to? I don't.
Yes.
Well, I'm asking because like Griark and
I'm not good at heal. I'm gonna
Oh,
try,
you do it
but I'm
untrained.
not good.
I've
can do
got
this
good
untrained.
heal. I say as a rule of 3.
I'm not good
It's
at heal.
cancer, you're gonna die. You're WebMD.
We're all gonna die.
Actually, Dev and Sarik, you are able to identify that they seem to be showing signs of the swelling, sunburns, and dehydration that points to sunstroke. But it seems to, even the people report that they were literally just saying how, it's kind of chilly and kind of cool in here. It's not like, yeah, the rest of you will determine that that's not normal.
Are they getting overheated in here?
But shortly as that's occurring, you do see as there's a veiled man dressed in city administrative robes enters the hall, looking about as he seems to glance about as some of the adventuring groups are getting a bit more agitated with all of it, as he pulls down the veil as soon as he steps in to reveal a kind of a retreating hairline, and his nose is particularly long and rather aquiline, and but otherwise he looks rather somber as he just kind of waves his hands to gather attention from everyone.
Huh. Well, this is something bad.
Same.
Good morning. The councilman's rather odd kind of voice we're sorry to have kept you waiting, but we're running a bit short on our staff numbers. Because our numbers are so limited, we could not organize and guarantee the lawfulness of your expeditions today. He takes a moment to kind of pause and even tries to lick a little bit of his cracked lips and swallows dry as he goes on. Unfortunately, a situation has come up in the last hour, and the personnel we did have were reassigned to other duties due to issues that, as he kind of gestures a little bit upwards, but thus the administration decided to shut down the necropolis until further notice. Because of the situation I mentioned, we cannot ensure your safe return to your lodging, so we ask that you all remain in this hall for now, and we'll arrange that you have comfortable stays. But meanwhile, I'd like to have a word with the representative of each team here present, if you will. As he gestures to one corner and actually kind of shoos one of the groups that was over there away.
He looks to the others. Who should go? Who wants to go?
Our representative is.
Whoever is the best at talking to people, I would assume.
I guess I can go. Went before.
Before Dev takes off, can I do like a perception to try and find empty barrels that are watertight?
What are you looking for?
Just a
Empty barrels?
barrel. Yeah, like an empty barrel that can hold water.
Not so much in here. This place has been, I mean, there's a little bit of furniture left from where it was used, but most barrels or things of use for moving things probably would have been taken.
Heck, I was going to suggest we just create water in some barrels for everybody, but it's fine. Anyways.
I mean, do it in some other containers, but I guess I should go talk to them first.
Mm-hmm.
So,
okay.
You see, he invites you all back to that corner where there is a small, poorly lit office connected to the main hall by a narrow corridor. As he does, any of the windows that are in the hallway that are a bit lower to the ground, he does pause to take and push the ancient curtains on all the way to make sure that the light's being blocked in. I would say, Dev, as you're watching, you can tell that he definitely also has about the initial stages of sunstroke. He's definitely being affected by the same whatever is going on. But you can recognize that pretty much there's somebody from each of the other groups, including the leader of the fancy pink hat that you saw. But he goes to pull out a water skin to pour himself some water and takes a drink before just kind of. All right.
You okay?
What? It's just some of the issues going on. I need to get through it.
Okay, go ahead.
So, you all know, there have been a number of disturbances that have been occurring all morning in Awati. It started with the sudden flood in the north, as the river suddenly rose and advanced on the shore. The guard rounded up the residents to a safe area and organized boats to rescue the people dragged by the currents. And that, as they got that under control, then the festered sun began, making further havoc, as not obviously all those in the boats were properly covered. Initially everyone went silent as it began, and over the minutes in which the sky turned orange and the sun looked sickly, people seemed to be mesmerized by the star as it blistered, oblivious to the world around them. And only those not looking started shouting their despair as hundreds of people fell unconscious or went blind. Others began reporting painful swelling and burns on the skin. Everyone's noticed that anyone exposed to the brightest of lights is accompanied by a sharp pain, accelerated sunstroke, and an urge to abandon all activities simply to look at the sun until you can no longer take it.
That sounds pretty messed up.
Yeah. Obviously, there are criminals all over Wati taking advantage of the chaos to plunder, putting more strain on the guard as we try to equip everyone against the sun with greater desert gear. We've been trying to seek help from the church and the authorities, but obviously we are a bit sequestered as the town is large, and we're having issues with any of our magics to discuss over long distances. Many of those who could help are also struck by the illnesses. I do know that the Church of Pharasma is currently mobilized to move through the area, although their acolytes and priests alike are moving through to try to alleviate those who have fallen sick. But the council has issued curfew to restore order. But between enforcing the decree, containing the raids, and helping victims, there are a few people that actually can find out what is doing this. As it seems triggered. The festered sun has come and gone before without this sort of reaction. What, he doesn't have many heroes normally that like to stay here. It is really only due to the necropolis that we have such help here. So the council has allowed me to potentially contract some adventurers, and the only ones that we know of in town that aren't currently either afflicted or refusing are those here. And you have all shown your own talents and skill, as those still dungeon diving have obviously proven themselves. So, the council is offering a payment of 1,500 gold pieces to each group that accepts to help. And then, if you are going to help, return to me with your entirety of your party. If you do want to try to negotiate that fee, we can talk about it, but it'll depend on what you're bringing or why you think it is worth more. But, so I'll talk to each group individually.
All right.
So, return to your people and see what they feel.
Yeah. Dev will run off back to the group. Okay, so, apparently the pestering sun is making people, like, sick and blind, and they keep staring at it until it's hurt. Let's adventurers to check it out, because they don't know why it's happening. It doesn't normally happen.
So crazy gnome guy was right.
Yeah, I didn't want to beat a dead camel about this, but yeah, I really feel like that gnome's probably our best lead on that.
Yeah, if we can find him. Assuming he didn't do it himself.
Omniscient voice in my head, the guy that gave Dev these commands is one of the astrologers.
He's one of the city officials,
Oh, okay.
at least from his guard. You didn't get his name just yet. You could probably ask that when you go to speak to him.
He said they'd pay each group that helps out 1,500 gold. And he just wants us to come talk to him. If you guys are up to it.
Well, I'm up for it. I was already interested in this gnome anyways. 1,500 sounds sweet.
Right?
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, as you see that most of the other groups are, seems like whether they're going or not, seems like most are going over to here. So it does look like there's a bit of a line, but I mean, apart from the fact that some people immediately fell ill, the rest of the building actually feels fairly cool still. Like, it seems like, despite the fact that it's causing sunstroke, it doesn't seem like it's intensified the heat any.
Is there any like equipment or anything that we can use to like, prevent us from befalling all this? Like, are there like specific like glasses or anything that like help us not look at the fucking sun? Or like,
There are things that can help with that, but I would definitely say you'd probably want to ask. Because like, since it's magical, then this is new. You would need to ask what because he's encountered some of it. It sounds like So you'd have to ask what works and what doesn't, because normally it's like people wear like there is desert gear, there are like there is such a thing as sand goggles and stuff like that, but that might not affect it if it's a magical curse.
Yeah.
It might be that you're just standing in the daylight. So you'd want to talk to him and find out.
Well, seems we need to talk to him either way.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, you do see that you are literally the last group in the line, but you do see that it does seem to pose some advantage, as you can definitely overhear the preceding meetings and talk to the other groups as they step out, as it seems like most are staying quiet before they go in or just discussing amongst their own. So if you would like to, you can either give me a perception or a diplomacy, depending on how you want to approach it.
I'm just gonna try to listen in.
Go ahead and give me a roll. Well, on either of those, and everyone can do it. You don't need just one.
I'm not good at talking to people, but I do have very good perception, so.
I'm gonna be chatty.
Dirty 20.
2020.
All right. So between you all, you first can tell that most of the meetings are quite short. It seems that they just kind of go and speak, and it seems like a lot are actually turning it down. From what you can see ahead of you, it seems like only two parties are accepting the job. It seems like the Daughters of the Desert, and then that band of halflings with all those fighting dogs they were replacing the other day. They seem to be.
Nice.
You can see as the group with the just say I need to find her name. Sorry, I gotta roll forward again. I apologize for the delay. Just Valeriana's group. You do see as they went up there and talked, but they seem to, rather than negotiate for the terms of or even the payment, it seems like she made demands from what you could hear that they wanted to be able to choose the next exploration sites. It's clear that they haven't been divvied out yet. But Ruja refuses the proposal. Or the gentleman, you haven't heard his name yet, but well, you'd probably hear it over the course of the talking that his name is Ruja, but you haven't heard it officially. But it seems like he refuses as he's not the one in charge of that, and they just walk out because of it. Or rather, she does, and the group follows.
Those guys are really obsessed with
But one of the group with the that seems to be clouding themselves in shadow seems to bear the rather traditional-looking Osirian priestess actually started kind of accusing him. They're just as they seem to accuse him of just closing the necropolis to forcefully gain the help of the adventurers. But you can tell though that he is just simply unable to comply with the demands of the parties, since most of the people asking or refusing seem to be asking for a lot more than he is able to offer. But the two accepting parties did manage to improve their arrangements beyond. You do know that you could definitely hear a couple of discussions of different things, but you couldn't make out just what. I.e., basically that's the DC you guys missed. But i.e., you may be able. It seems like he's very willing to budge if it's within his power. It's just you have to ask for the right thing. But as you come in, he'd stand up and even say, "Just I've been reminded by a few of them that I didn't follow proper courtesies, but I would shake hands, but in case this is something infectious." As he kind of air shakes in your direction, but my name is Ruja.
Ruja, Dev.
Hi. Have the Indigo Mongoose discussed this? You're the last potentials. We only have two otherwise.
Yes, I think we're all here to listen to your request and
Is the payment acceptable?
Others.
I'll defer to party.
What if would it be possible that we could get some more of those discount vouchers too?
That's a good ask, actually.
As he probably has to ask which ones in particular you mean, and then but once you find that out, he's and then go ahead and give me the better of a bluff or diplomacy, which this is basically just improving
Yeah.
reactions, improving. I forget the word. Improving relations.
A 27 should help.
That's a solid 27.
Which he kind of smiles and he's just like, I can, yes, actually, that we can certainly do that. We can, I can get some discounts on the services from the Pharasmans. Otherwise, I could remove the taxes on the items that you bring back from the necropolis. Normally, that goes to what you would get. Otherwise, you could apply that to the auction afterwards if you want to go, if you're saving your items for that greater payment.
I don't know.
Or do both of those.
Yeah. That would be more than acceptable.
Alright. In which case, then, if you'd like to join me, well, actually, just stay here and I will bring the other two groups back here as well. So he goes to step out and waves in the Daughters of the Desert and the Fighting Hounds. But as it is, you can see as they look, I mean, the daughters seem to be fairly quiet and just kind of look over all of you. Not so much rudely, but definitely kind of examining. The twins seem to kind of linger, their faces watching you, but whereas the halflings give like a rather friendly wave.
Yeah, I'm absolutely going up, petting one of their dogs, and giving a friendly pat on the back to the group leader for sure. Love those halflings.
Yeah. Like, you guys doing all right? No one's collapsing due to the non-existent. Well, I mean, it's not non-existent; it's still a freaking desert. But you guys,
No. Ghost had a better chance in the heat for sure.
Not too bad right now, at least.
Am I over there with them?
Yeah, these would be.
It's just like, I'm cursed.
What?
That also happened. That is,
Yes.
that is not related to the sun.
They all kind of take a step away from Griark.
Oh, don't worry, it's not contagious. Trust me.
Yes. Any of you happen to feel a true love connection to my friend Griark? No?
They all kind of look at each other funny. The twins are dead silent and their veils cover any expression, but you see them look at each other and they both make a kind of motion, like a wobble with their hand.
I mean, they said I could give it in friendship too to somebody I felt was like a really good friend.
Can I
One of the twins
roll
points at one of the dogs.
Can I roll either perception or sense motive to see if Griark's true love or true friend love is amongst these people?
If you want to vibe check these ones, sure. But
in fact, want to vibe check these guys. So is that sense motive?
Sure, why not?
All right, 16.
I mean, you know, true love is a fickle thing. You're not certain, but you know, like you feel it. You're feeling it.
There's clearly some prime kobold fans among this group.
I'm gonna pat Griark and be like, listen, I don't know if they're among here, but you'll find them one day. One day you'll find them.
Among geese.
Among geese.
Oh, no.
All right, so Ruja would explain that the military wing of the Pharasmans is being led by a rather humorless leader, and then they have an inquisitor who is quite good at their job as well, but they are currently occupying the necropolis, as they believe that this is to do something to do with maybe all, if not one of the groups, maybe disturbed or disrespected the dead. But currently they wish to re-enter the tombs, open but the previous days to check on their conditions. But Rouge just kind of pauses. I'm not saying that they're wrong, but I do want to focus, and I insisted with the council that we have other venues be investigated rather than wait for that. So I have a few to assign to each of you. So there are 3 points of interest, and all of you can pick one of them, whichever you feel.
I'm very
First-
sorry. I was reading a very important text. I zoned out a little bit. Are we looking at sites to see if someone had disrespected the dead?
No.
Is it-
No, that's what the Pharasman's military aspect is doing, because they have a whole military wing that you haven't met.
Okay, carry on.
But all right, so first, the recent Anubian sect has been very vocal, especially during our warnings. Their preachings became very strong, and they warned that something was going to occur. So, if someone would like to go to their encampment, and I would appreciate that to make contact and investigations there. Second, there was only one man with consistent information regarding a curse, known by the name of Gyep. He tried to warn the city council about it, but he was ridiculed by the majority. We have not been able to find him at his private residence, and no one has seen him since the night before. And whichever group goes there, I can give you the address of his office. And then finally, there have been reports of a strange mirage around the Mafiris estate that no one can explain. A few of our scouts were dispatched earlier this morning, but no one has returned. In fact, no member of the wealthy Mafiris family, which is one of the oldest and most traditional clans of Owati, have been spotted today. Not even their servants were seen leaving the house.
Ominous.
Sounds cursed.
You can see as it's just I would offer the daughters first choice, just given that. But they actually just gesture to the other two groups, and the halflings just kind of point over at you, kind of with after their leader points, they all start pointing. Which you just
All right. You bunch of.
I think you wanted to go find that gnome guy.
I mean, I'll defer to Party on that. Just my own personal interest is in the gnome and his idea of the curse.
Excuse me.
Alright. I have some placards here that'll exempt you from the curfew order. There's one for each of you here as he goes into his bag and pulls out some little placards and he looks through and you realize that he had one for each group, but he's only distributing the ones for the three of you. That then you realize why is they have the your name on them, or at least your group's name.
It's cave pass. I mean, all pass.
Yeah, did you guys want to check something other than the gnome?
That was pretty much where I was looking to go.
Yeah.
Cool.
Find
I'm
out
just
what
trying
Lee
not
thinks
to like
about all
railroad
this.
us.
Nah, it's because he was knowing about this stuff beforehand, or maybe he's just crazy. But either way, we'll find out.
Yeah. Beautiful thing about doomsayers, right? Either they're just doomsayers or they're a prophet.
Right? You never know until the doom happens.
Okay, so we do that, and then, I mean, I guess it's up to the other two groups to decide what it is they're going to do, huh?
Otherwise, yeah, looking at that, the sisters, the kind of lead kind of Nordic-looking woman. She's just blonde and very muscular. She's well. I suppose we'll speak with the religious sorts. Aha! That leaves the rich guys for us. They always get mad if we bring our dogs inside, but we're gonna bring them inside.
And I would have brought mine.
Fucking love these halflings.
Rujan pauses. All right, if you'd like to, obviously, I'll try to get any word by word of mouth to any of the guards. But otherwise, if you want to report back, in your passings, you may, and then I can give you updates as far as what the other groups have found. It's up to you.
We found anything that's effective at protection from this stuff?
Yes, there seems to be two things occurring. Thick clothing, the thicker the better, good veiling even over your face, will protect you from the what we're calling day burn.
Okay.
And then if you can blind someone who is currently staring at the sun, it can prevent them from going catatonic or totally blind. So, like a blindfold or a desert goggles.
Okay.
Seems that if you're well covered, it's still burns a bit, so be wary.
Unfolds her parasol.
Forgot you had that.
Right? Well, it wasn't burning death outside yet.
True.
All right. So, I will have you all go to Gyep's office. He's in the Astronomers Guild house, so and he gives you some directions to go there.
Good, sounds good. Hello, Blazingly. Welcome to the chat. Oh, also, I have 5 doses of chill cream, which might help. I don't know. Maybe not.
It'd be a good one to have in the back pocket. Hmm.
And if we're going to use it, we should apply it before we go outside.
Maybe.
So I was actually looking up for desert goggles. Are there any merchants open right now? I mean, probably not with all the stuff going on, right?
No, not so much.
Hmm. Just can't really get goggles.
Or if we just find some glass and smoke it. Make our own.
Where is... So I'm looking at my...
So, otherwise, the Astronomers Guild house is located north of Wati Central District, a couple blocks from the river shore.
Okay. Just for party's sake, I'm going to link chill cream. Assume everybody will want to apply that.
That does make sense. Oh yeah. Give us a positive bright light too. Nice.
Right now?
Greg's certainly not gonna object.
Look, chill cream.
Well,
I
pill
linked it
cream?
in
Oh, yeah,
chat.
that's fine. Yeah, sorry, I was reading. I was going to ask, Cursive, would Desert Delver actually help with this for me?
What's Desert Delver?
Desert dwarves have adapted to the extreme cold and heat that can suddenly occur in both harsh deserts and the mountain tunnels around their caravan. Dwarves with this racial feat get cold and fire resist 1 and treat temperatures as 20 degrees cooler or warmer when determining effects of extreme heat or extreme cold.
I would treat that as a bonus to the saves for it, yes. To certain parts of it.
Okay.
Which you'll find out fairly quickly on stepping out, as it basically begins to strike you very quickly, but basically then makes you seem like you're in the hottest of heat, regardless of where you are.
Oh, I see. Okay. I'm still definitely going to apply some chill cream.
Yeah.
Okay. So, first things first then. What I need from you all is, as soon as you step out to head to the north, I need you to give me a will save.
Will.
Ah, shit. Where was my good one?
This is a mind affecting compulsion.
Yay!
Could I cast guidance on the group?
I think it only lasts for a round, so I mean,
Yeah, that's fair.
you kind of need to know people need to make the save going out.
Yeah.
Well, luckily, 2 of you did resist it, but as you guys step out, pretty much immediately as you guys step out and you're kind of bundling up and putting your cloth over it, as soon as you do, Hobbs and Dev just, oh, and I need one for Char.
Hmm.
Hobbs and Dev immediately just stop and look straight up and look at the sun.
Krick is going to grab Dev and just like turn him around and pull him close into their body.
Yeah, I'm gonna put my hand over Hobbs' eyes and then start like pull him in and then continue walking.
All right. Yeah, you can definitely feel as it's suddenly while it doesn't feel hot, you start feeling the aches. You'll have to basically save as soon as since you guys did know to cover up and basically making sure that none of your body is exposed to the daylight. But you will have to roll against the day burn once you get back in, but it will take you, since you did cover up, it doesn't take effect for an hour or one exposure. So you only have to do one. It won't take you more than an hour to get to the Astronomer's Guild. So,
Alrighty.
luckily, as you're walking along with your heads down and covered as you're following the instructions, and pass a few guards doing the same, you do hear the shouts of what sounds like some guards and some looters a couple blocks away, but otherwise make it there without any incident. But so I guess we'll go to a fortitude save in that case.
Alrighty.
You.
Matters. The parasol also gives a +1 circumstance versus heat fortitude rolls.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll get the chill cream bonus or if I would get the desert delver bonus on this, but I'll definitely take him on that 10.
What is the chill cream do?
I linked it in chat. It gives a
Oh.
+2 alchemical bonus on saves and resist hot weather. In areas of bright light, this increases to +4.
Okay, this would qualify as the bright light aspect of it. So in this case, Griark is the only one that you start feeling a little more achy, and even as you step in where there's some torch, they would probably be using some, since they do have all their blinds drawn immediately. And actually Char seems a little tired too, but it does seem like even once you're out of the sunlight, any light whatsoever is causing achiness in Griark and Char. So basically each of you would take, let's see, a little bit of non-lethal.
One question. Char is immune to fire. I don't know if that matters.
Oh. Let me see if this is a fire effect, because I don't believe it is, but... No, it's a light effect.
Gotcha.
So... It does mimic the effects of it, but yeah, it's not actually related to flame or fire.
Could I possibly do a heal check to try and like help them out?
Well, right now it's only one non-lethal. But
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
you could certainly... one healing would get rid of that, otherwise if you... there's just a little bit of non-lethal on Char and Griark, as it's just that you're definitely starting to swell a little. Whereas the rest of you are doing alright.
I am becoming thick.
You're already thick.
Some of the guards near the front door that are kind of guarding against any looters, as well as you can definitely tell there's some scholars here that kind of looking just the... You're all here for answers. We don't necessarily have them all. We're doing the best we can, watching where we can, since we can't directly go outside.
Martinez, thank you for the raid and the hydrate.
What's up, Raiders?
Good to see you.
The guild house itself is rather unimposing. It's about 3 levels, but since the river has flooded the north section, you can see that the ground floor is partially underwater. But it is rather cooling to the bit, but does look like it had very limited space, especially given how many astronomers you saw around the town, which means there's probably not a ton of offices.
Alright.
There is a bit of a crowd in one area that all seem to be shouting, and you realize very quickly they are actually... A lot of them are saying the name Gep, as it sounds like they're bugging some of the guards looking for Gep. But they seem to be just holding him back, it sounds like the guards are parroting some of the things that you heard Ruka say as far as how to prevent it and just to stay out of the light. It should go away in a few days.
Okay, well, I guess we should probably get up there and not tea. martyred or anything.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
As you go towards the staircase and look up towards the offices, you do see that there is a small a woman that looks to be a halfling that is standing on the doorway, and just seeing you approach, she just kind of pauses and just, "Are you the group that was coming this way?"
Yes, we were sent to find. Yep.
I was told that there was some sort of tokens that you had that said you were working with the Pharasmans. Could you show that for me, just to make sure you're not? And she kind of
Yes.
gestures to. She's kind of rubbing her hands a bit, but she seems rather nice and in a good mood.
Yes. Indigo Mongoose multipass.
She looks at it and just. To be honest, I wouldn't recognize it if it wasn't, but you seem confident, and she just kind of smiles and she's like, "Hi, I'm Talpa. I am a colleague of Gyap. But yeah, let's go. He's on the 3rd floor."
Okay, after you.
So, apart from the obvious, how's your day going? Apart from, the flood here is annoying. It took out one of our archives, but my morning was pretty good until the orange light started.
The Death Star tried to get me to stare at it.
Hey, what? Oh, I heard that would happen. Yeah. Gyap warned me I should stay inside today. Everyone else thought he was insane, but I'm glad I listened.
And
Right
thank
before
you
we
for the
go into the-
reset.
Right before we go into the room that has this gnome in it, I'm going to cast guidance on the group.
Okay. It's a mundane wooden door, but you would see that there's a little plaque on it that just says Gyep, Gyep. But she's like, he really hated when people came in here and messed with his stuff. But obviously, whatever you need to find, but we haven't seen him. But you're welcome to look for anything that may make sense of any of it.
All right, I guess we're doing some paperwork, my friends.
Yeah, so she goes to unlock it and goes to open it for you. I can wait outside if you like.
You're welcome to come in, and if you might see anything that might help us.
Probably she goes to pull the door open, and you look and you realize that it is very cramped and small, and you realize, oh, right, this is a gnome's office. She's like,
Actually, like a closet.
She just looks and she's like, I think I'll stay outside.
Okay, well, at least I'm small. You guys are, yeah.
But beyond the door, there's a rather unusual office. It's very disorderly, and at first it looks like it's been looted, like at the hands of a burglar, or maybe a small hurricane, until you make it clear, or it makes it clear that with a second look, that there's a method to the chaos. That while if there's a swirl of papers, it's very clear they're all in perfect order, and apparently is typical in every area of the workspace. You'd see similar sort of lacking organization, but organization. But
It's just a gnome's office, is what it is. It's just a gnome's office.
There are celestial charters and handwritten notes covering the walls from top to bottom. Huge heaps of papers, books, and scroll cases littering the floors, shelves, and desk. The latter is barely discernible, buried under a wide array of astronomical tools and devices, pointed upwards towards the skylight on the ceiling. But it seems like it would be impossible to take more than 2 steps without tripping over something.
All right.
Sorry, I don't know why, but that does sound like very standard, like gnomish behavior. Like if I imagine a gnome's office in my head, that is about what I think of. Just some crazy tornadoed office.
Ultimate hoarder.
Yeah.
I just picture that office from Last Crusade.
Oh yeah.
It's just that, holy fuck, man.
I guess what was my investigation?
It'd be a perception check to look around and try to find anything of worth.
Okay.
Seems like it might be difficult.
26.
That was a good roll.
Maybe not so difficult for you. Jeez. Sound a bit like the Grunge.
It sounds like waiting for character sheet grudge.
I was gonna say, sounds like Deckle trying to negotiate with Roll20. Yeah, my character sheet was acting sluggish today too.
I am assisting.
This sneeze. Pardon me. Sorry.
Bless you.
The mutant channel. In time. Mm. Um. All right. So you do see that while you look through it in the drawers and you're trying to find everything, you do realize that on the underside of the desk there is a hidden compartment.
Can I check it for traps?
You sure can. Give me another perception. You guys can aid each other if you like and look at it.
Sure, I'll try and aid.
What a fine,
Another 26. Look at you go.
what a fine hidden compartment you've got. Let's see if there's.
I feel like they probably don't need help.
Sarik's like, obviously. Actually, Sarik, though, what you would find is that you do see what there is a what looks like a small section of it that is attached with a wire that goes with seems to be based to the opening, but it goes to a what looks like a very small jar that has a thunderstone in it, but it seems to be in a solution of glowing cyan liquid.
Did he make a taser? Like, this is not Sarik as this is me asking. He make fucking.
Do you have any skills that might help you identify it?
I feel like that's probably gonna be better for the other members of the party. I'll point it out to everyone, obviously, but
I would say engineering, alchemy. I would say arcane.
You
All
say
good.
engineering?
Yes, I did say engineering.
Yes.
If you want to give me that, you could identify what it is.
26.
26s are going.
All these
hard
26s.
today.
So you can tell that he has rigged up a little bit of what seems to be just a spark, basically like a friction trap for when it opens. We'll send a spark down the line to detonate that little thing. But it looks like upon investigation of like at the seal, you'd realize that it's just a glowing dye. But you'd realize that even the little bit you have stains your finger to a point that it even glows a little bit, and like you'd recognize it. Oh, that's glowing ink. That won't wash out for 48 hours.
So it's like a dye bag. That's
Yeah.
cool.
And then it looks like he just put it into a thunderstone, and so it's basically it would explode and just go over anyone who opened that chamber. But with that roll, it's like looks like it's easier to disable than it is to find. It's very well hidden, but
Yeah. Just the container and drain the stuff, maybe.
it'd be a disable device to do it successfully, because you still could like dump it all over your hands.
I have
Yeah, right.
I have a -5 disable device. I'm gonna need someone else to
I'm
handle
gonna-
that.
I'm
Have a
gonna try.
two.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna need some help.
I almost want to roll just to see what I get.
That didn't help any.
Too
Oh,
late.
I couldn't roll anyways because I was untrained. My bad.
I'm also untrained.
All right.
I'm gonna
So
just roll. I'm just rolling just to roll. It's a
anything from
negative.
Hobbs?
Wow.
For a lot of this, untrained. Fair enough. All right. So, Dev, you're playing with it, and then suddenly, as you're going to detach it, there's a part where you just pull the cord out, and then there's just suddenly a loud bang right in your face and some ringing, and there are just streaks of glowing cyan that are going down and around your snout as you look amazing now, but you are just covered, and it's just a moment of like mop, just
With my -5 disable device. Well done! Cannot believe that you disabled that so quickly. Truly an
It's,
expert.
wow. Look how awesome I look.
You look wonderful. You've never looked more beautiful. You're positively glowing. Look at you.
You look like a sewer dragon.
I mean, I lived with them. Yes. Actually, technically, I am.
There you go. So for you, this is just like more variation to your paint job.
Indeed.
there's a little cartoon blink where it's like with the eyes shut, you're very cyan, and just a blink.
I'm gonna hold up my little man, Navile. Look, it's a real dragon.
Aha! Your little man and my little man should hang out.
Yeah, for sure. I was thinking the next time we're at the tavern, I'm gonna try to like improve relations.
But yeah, there's a secret compartment.
Yeah. Now it's not.
It's triggered. Yeah.
It's already glowing, so you might as well open it.
Yeah, I'll just pop it open.
So you can see that inside there is a box with a note attached to it. Then there is also a jar that seems to be kind of like a darkened amber, but otherwise has some liquid and seems to be something immersed in it.
Okay. Guess
More liquids.
I'm gonna see what it is before I touch it. Is that possible?
Yeah. Which one are you looking at?
You said there was what in this drawer again?
There's a box with a note on it.
Uh-huh.
There seems to be a jar with some liquid and something suspended in the liquid in it. And
Okay.
then underneath the box and jar, there's a damaged parchment.
I think I'll read the note on the box first.
It says, "Do not forget."
Okay. Well, he clearly forgot it.
Yes, he did.
And then, yeah, I'd like to see what is suspended in the jar.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't take much of a check to notice as you just kind of examine it. Looking at it, and even from the smell, just from the jar itself, you can see it looks to be an unpeeled onion immersed in pomegranate vinegar.
It's pickling an onion.
Do
Pickling an onion?
pickles help with this, maybe? Somehow?
Knowledge local could assist you.
That's
Hobbs, I know you have knowledge local. For the love of God, rolling at 20 right now. I need to know if he's pickling.
Wait.
You're untrained knowledge local? I thought you had it. Interesting.
Well, this is a low enough DC that you guys could still roll on it untrained.
Oh. Well, I will take that.
I will
I will take
give
that.
my very skilled knowledge. Yes.
Oh, Griark's good at it.
The Griark was just showing us all up.
So, Griark and Sarik, you would actually recognize that as a regional delicacy called a pickled sole. It's not actually a sole. You eat it like an apple with the skin still on and all that, and it's extremely sour and acidic. And it's kind of an acquired taste. Usually, it generally makes people sick on their first eating, and then eventually it's kind of a very loved one after that. But yeah, interesting. You must like them.
Anything like a pickled moonradish.
Potentially.
I'll go ahead and be like, maybe I'll get dye on my face, and then I'll move the jar on top of the desk to get out of the way. And
Okay.
then, same with the box. I'll pull it out, and then I want to see what's under them.
All right. So you can see that it's a rather damaged parchment. It seems to have some sort of poem on it. You can see a study report. And then you can see an inventory of properties that seem to be owned by the Mephiris family. And then copies of some letters.
The Mephiris family being the family that nobody had heard from, right?
Correct.
Huh.
That could be
Obviously.
important.
Right? Yeah, these are fragile documents. Okay.
Yeah, they're damaged parchments.
Could I actually? I have mending. Would that possibly at all?
Yeah,
So
that
we
would
can
return
handle
it to normal parchment, so it would be nice and
Handleable.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and just mend them real quick, so we can handle them easier.
Takes a little time.
easily done. If you want to examine any of them, there is more information on each of what's there. So, well, the inventory of properties owned by the Mephiris family. That's just what it is. The study report, and then there's the poem, and then there's there's copies of some letters.
What do you guys want to read into?
Maybe start with the letters.
Okay. The letters seem to be copies of historical letters exchanged between someone named Pharaoh Mephiris and then the clergy of the Pharasman Temple, dating from the time of the Great Plague, in which they seem to be plotting against a heretic by the name of Kapanik and her husband Nehut Thepre.
I think I'll specifically show it, or as we're reading this, I think I'll be asking Griark if they know anything, because they seem to have a pretty good grasp of local history.
Does I know?
Not outright. That's a bit beyond the pale for just a normal straight check.
Gotcha.
Very specific ones, because this is obviously copies of a letters or something that's a bit more probably secret. Because Erasmus was supposed to be close to all the Egyptian gods. It's weird that her clergy would be working to plot against a oracle of Anubis.
Unless they
Seems-
already had their own plans.
Would knowledge religion help?
That's a good
Not
question.
here just yet. This is something that you could probably bring to someone else.
Okay.
We should definitely hold on to these. These missives are obviously pretty important.
The study report seems to be referring to an unidentified mummy that is currently in the House of Hallowed Resurgence. They seem to have it in their collection currently. At least the dates seem to imply it was there this last night, and it's unlikely it got shipped out before this morning. Knowledge Local could help you identify that, or you could ask the gal outside. Alpha.
Well, there goes the untrained knowledge.
Sorry, I missed where was everyone? More knowledge?
There's a
Knowledge
mention of a
Local.
place called House of Hallowed Resurgence.
They have a mummy in there.
Oh, look at me go.
Look at that.
Yeah, Griark, you would know that is a local. It's the seat of the most prominent embalmers and entombers. It's a funerary organization, but it's a whole institution of them.
This mummy's just there?
Oh,
Are
it
they
said that
easily mummified?
They probably have a lot of mummies there. That's what they do.
Well, you know, you don't really just like store bodies at a funeral home. You take them to a graveyard.
Right. But I mean, embalming is a longer process.
That's why I'm asking if this person was recently mummified, or if it's like these missives, are they from like a long time ago?
I don't know.
Fair.
Well, it's an unidentified mummy, so you wouldn't. So unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of info on which one. Just that that they only had so many that were all dedicated to certain families, and that there's a mummy with no family that put it there. And it seems that had drawn the attention of Gep.
Hmm,
Well, that seems worth checking out.
definitely.
Otherwise, the poem itself, I do also have. I can read it for you, and then I'll post a screen cap of it if you like.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
It doesn't seem to bear an author or a writer to it, but it does say, when pustules stain the golden face of Ra, before the watchful crows begin to caw, the eyes once turned blind to misconduct shall watch the sun and have their seeing plucked, and burning sores will sprout under daylight, till those who walked the day must walk the night, or feast on blood and find its sweet relief, repulsive, mortifying, vile and brief. 10,000 years may pass, or maybe less, 500 floods and wars, or maybe more, until the Renaissance I thus profess. Someday the souls around the sycamore will whisper while accepting death's caress. Behold the vengeance Caponic once swore.
Caponic.
That sounds a lot like what's happening.
I'd be willing to wager these Anubis guys that were giving out the bread yesterday would have a very, very, very interesting thing to say about this poem.
Right?
I'm more than willing to bet that.
Probably report what we found anyway.
Yeah, definitely. That name, though, in the poem, will we have any kind of reference, or is there a skill check we could do to possibly identify that figure?
Caponic?
Yeah.
Caponic was mentioned by the by name. The Anubis acolyte that was talking mentioned that Caponic was their old one that she had said many prayers to Anubis, and that a lot of them were coming true. And one of them was. So she was a grand seer for Anubis.
Yeah. Okay.
And there is still a box that you guys haven't opened.
Oh.
The one that says "Don't forget."
Yes. In the box.
I'm gonna look at Deb's ink-covered face, and then I'm gonna check this box for additional like traps or something.
It could be another color of ink.
Oof,
Oh.
it's not the greatest perception.
I mean, seems fine.
Okay, I'll open it. I'll get ink on my face
No ink.
or stabbed.
There seems to be. Does anyone here speak Gnomish?
Let me double check.
Don't imagine I do. No.
Do not.
There's a little thin wand with some little tidwink writing on it that you'd recognize as Gnomish. Maybe the halfling speaks it. But it seems to be what looks like a wand, a little bit large for a gnome, but probably a bit small for a medium creature, but definitely a wand. There is a scroll as well, and then there's blueprints that you'd realize are for, with your role from the knowledge local for the House of Hallowed Resurgence, it seems to be the blueprints, specifically for the Conservation and Research Wing. So you get the map for it.
Ah,
Interesting.
seems like something he'd want to have taken if he was going over there. Out.
Probably why he wrote don't forget.
Beginning to believe that our gnome here obviously didn't leave on his own accord. Can I check the room for signs of a struggle? Any kind of like, obviously the whole thing is like a whirlwind, but something that, claw marks opening up a window, something broken, like something showing like signs of struggle or resistance as a gnome was being carried out, maybe.
You could do that.
Sorry, cards in my hand. What? See, skills. $17.
You're fairly certain this is how it normally is. Doesn't look like there was a fight here.
It's just very odd to me. I mean, obviously, me as a player, like, it's kind of standard gnomish behavior for them to be a bit more, like on the side of whimsy, where they would just like forget to grab their stuff. But
Yeah.
in character, it just seems very odd to me that he would forget such important things for something he was researching so heavily.
It
I
was the
disagree.
suddenness of everything, and he just ran out.
Maybe. Doesn't sit right with me.
What'd you say, Crix?
Said it doesn't sit right with me.
Can I read magic to examine the scroll?
You sure can. It is a scroll of make whole.
Ah,
Read
nice.
magic also allows you to identify the wand.
I will look at that too.
It is a wand of Disrupt Undead, fully charged.
Disrupt Undead.
Disrupt Undead. It's a level
He
0 spell that deals a d6 damage to an undead. And it's a ranged attack. Just a little.
He had these in a box that said, "Do not forget."
And then
all
you
this
forgot it.
research. Yeah, all this research over curses, a mummy at this area. Obviously, I think our next step is reporting what we found, and then I think we should probably head to the house that has this mummy. I think he was expecting to be attacked by a mummy, or possibly undead people revolving around said mummy or curse.
Yeah, do you think we should go right there?
We should probably report what we found either way. I mean, to be honest, we don't know how long he's been gone.
That's true.
If he's dead, he's already dead, you know what I mean? It's just kind of how it is. I'm not saying that we should waste time, but I think we should still follow procedure and report what we found.
Yeah, we did tell them we would, so that.
Sorry, I had to deafen thanks Synth for his resub because my thing didn't ping me.
Need to get
Thank
the
you,
alerts
Sam.
fixed. No.
But yeah, so we're if you didn't hear any of that, Cursive, we're gonna go report what we found and then go to I'm very sorry, the house of wherever that mummy's at, the unidentified mummy, after we report what we found.
Agreed.
Hobbs and Griark, are you both okay with that?
Yes.
Fine with me.
I'm telling you guys, it doesn't sit right with me. I don't think he left here on his own accord. I'm aware that gnomes are a bit more dazed than most, but it's an awful lot of important things to forget for someone who is taking such
For a celestial event that only occurs once, like every couple, like many years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's been doing entirely too much homework and research on this. There's no way. I refuse to believe it. There's no way.
Okay. You do
You're
get a map.
smarter than me.
You do get a map of the room, so I can just bring you guys right over here so you can see it, so you know what you're getting at least. I'm gonna adjust the.
I'm becoming an old person. Me as a person was like, wow, look at this room layout. It's so nice. Look at all this design.
Yeah, right? Look at that fine wooden furniture. And...
Yeah, look at all this fine craftsmanship. God.
I'm gonna have to shrink you guys. Oh, actually, you're pretty well sized for it, so that works out pretty well. Although I have
You're
you
the
guys
kind
on
of
the wrong
person
there.
that's gifts by gifts that are like pots and pans.
Like when you actually
unironically-
want the socks.
Yeah,
Right?
I unironically got super pumped by getting a cast iron set. It's
I
real.
was literally about to say, "Oh my god, is this a cast iron pan?"
I got so excited. Leave me alone. I was like, it's got a Dutch oven in it. What?
Holy shit, it's nonstick.
That was actually me.
I mean, I got
have
super excited just
natural
from the bed my
Wi-Fi?
folks got me. It was just like, oh my god, yes. All right, so luckily the House of Hallowed Resurgence isn't terribly far. Probably does irritate Char and Griark a little bit more, but it does fall into the category of the next bit, so you're okay in that regard. But
Did we just like passively report what we found?
yes, because you could report it to Tulpa, and she's working with the city officials, and they can pass. Unless you want to go all the way back to Ruka, in which case, then, but that would be definitely another role.
We should
the sun.
definitely limit our exposure to the sun.
Yeah, right?
The sun is trying to murder you.
As long as we can deliver the message to someone, that counts.
All right. So, oh, and I'm gonna shift my music. It's been on the same loop. We're gonna go over to the next one.
I should probably get something more suspenseful. Mine's very chill.
Yeah, mine's been the same tavern song for like every episode of this stream.
I hope my chat doesn't get sick of lo-fi beats.
Right? I'm on lo-fi here.
I might swap to lo-fi.
I'm literally using my lo-fi that I have. It's 5 minutes on repeat. It's the same 5 minutes on repeat.
Oh shoot!
That's
I
all
bought
they get.
I bought a pack from Stormy. I just haven't fucking figured out how to use it yet.
They're investigating Golden. They haven't found anything just yet, but they have a theory that the gnome has been drugged away from his home.
Yeah, in some way or other, just been absconded straight out of his office.
All right.
Yeah.
So, like many of the city's non-essential services, the House of Hallowed Resurgence has closed its doors during this time of crisis. From the prior role you got, you know the guild's leader is a rather skilled alchemist, but he has a mummified left hand. But otherwise, she is well regarded in that regard. All the accesses are blocked, but the streets are nearly deserted, so it doesn't look like, a break-in would draw too much attention from any guards, because you don't see any guards within eyesight. But it'd be easy for you to reach the conservation and research wing on the ground floor without even so much of a check, as getting the boards off would be a simple matter if you have any sort of tool.
Do we have someone that has like thieves' tools or whatever?
I'm talking a crowbar. Crowbar would get you in.
Oh, we
I feel
totally
like
have crowbars.
do we have crowbars? I know I have
Right.
one. I have one
as well.
Yeah, we both have crowbars.
We're all
You guys-
just super weak. I remember now. We have crowbars. We just don't have the strength.
Yeah, we had like all tried to open that first door.
Okay, that was definitely a joint endeavor in that regard. So yeah, you guys would be spawning down here at the bottom right, if you guys would like to move yourselves down there. That's where you enter this wing. You're basically opening a window elsewhere and then coming down the halls of you're moving through the empty facility. And that's where...
Oops.
There are windows on the east wall, one of which is broken, overlooking the inner garden. To the west, there's a narrow corridor leading to the staff offices. And then from the marks you saw, the storage room and workshop are accessible from the L-shaped turn at the end of the main hallway. The window to the west allows you to see inside one of the offices, the other two connecting to the workshop. But they seem to be closed with wooden blinds right now.
What is this building made out of?
Wood and stone. Kind of wood-framed stone.
Does stone cutting apply here?
Yes, it will. But every once in a while, you do hear a muffling, stomping noise echoing in the hallway. You can give me a perception to try to pinpoint it. Otherwise, survival could also assist you, as there is some tracks.
It's ghosts.
26 perception.
Ghosts.
You can definitely tell it's coming from the library.
I can try survival. I think that was something you look for.
That'd be,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. 19.
That's pretty good. 19's not bad.
You can tell that there's a rather recent passage of a barefoot medium humanoid biped.
Barefoot.
Mm-hmm.
Is it standard? Like, I grew up around here, like, so obviously I would know standard, like, things that locals do. Is it? It's not very standard for people to just be walking around barefooted, right?
Yeah, that'd be kind of weird. I mean, especially in a desert area, because I mean, even on a normal day, the sand outside, even the sandstone of the pathways, gets unbearably hot.
Okay.
So sandals are pretty much vital.
If that's the case, wherever we go around here, I will already have my hammer in my hand. And, just
Okay.
kind of be on edge.
All right.
Okay. Where do you guys want to go first? Obviously, I can scout it out, but I'm not going to be very sneaky. I can tell you now.
Just start in the hall here.
Okay. So there are some offices here.
I'm gonna try the door handle.
It's unlocked.
Creep it open.
I would actually like to cast guidance on the party before we go in anywhere.
Okay.
Guidance, what do you mean?
Just guidance. Just gives a +1 to checks and stuff. That's
Yeah,
all.
less a minute. I double
Yeah,
checked on that
last
one.
minute.
Okay.
Just a very helpful cantrip.
Would take you about half a minute to cast on everybody, and then that would buy you basically a half minute as you start stepping in. But seems to be empty. But you can give me a perception check all the same.
Oof.
All right. Griark, as you guys are looking around the first office there, you are able to find what looks like a necklace bearing a jackal's head. That one from your prior one you'd recognize as a golden holy symbol of Anubis, as well as an obsidian signet.
Ew. Anything special about the signet, or?
Knowledge local could assist you in identifying that.
Gold, holy symbol of Anubis.
Nope.
Yes.
Got a big old fat 8 on that.
Okay, that one I cannot offer for untrained, so unless you have it, you can't. Okay,
I'm
yeah.
not going to bother identifying. You said it was what, though?
It's a obsidian signet.
Obsidian signet. Okay. I'm at least going to mark it down.
Yeah, I would say mark down where you found it just in case there's other obsidian signets. But yeah. But there's other offices. From what you could tell on the blueprints, there are 3.
Try the left door.
It is also unlocked.
Open.
Okay. Yeah, seems to be another office. You can give me another perception check if you like.
I will perceive.
Sarik, you managed to find another one of those signets, and it seems to be sitting on top of a letter.
Okay. Well, I'd like to see what the letter is.
The letter seems to be a welcome to Osirian, seems to be detailing some areas around it, and it seems to be welcoming them to the Embalmers Guild.
This obsidian signet, does it I don't know how to ask this without sounding stupid. Does it look like it's like worn, or like
No,
does it look like
it's
it's
brand
new?
new.
Like brand new, like never.
First
really
one,
been
the
off
first one looked slightly worn. This one looks brand new.
Could I?
Got a welcome letter.
Right, like do I need to do a roll, or can I just kind of connect the two and be like, oh, I'm be willing
Yeah.
to bet this is the signet of the.
You're
Of the
welcome to make
guild.
connect to any dots that you ever feel that you can see.
Okay, I believe that that is like a a symbol of station within like
Yeah.
the
Makes sense. It's like the welcome to the team kind of thing.
right, and that one's brand new. The other one didn't have one of those letters. It looks worn.
Yep.
I guess look across the hall here. Check this office.
Same thing, unlocked.
Pop, pop.
You can
Says
perception if you
don't
like again.
believe them.
Perceiving.
Oh shit!
You're able
Oh,
to
yeah.
find yet another signet. This one's in a drawer.
Yep, they all got one of these.
Looks like they leave it at work.
Interesting. So we have someone here who can identify magical items, yeah?
And it takes detect magic and spellcraft.
I could just detect magic and see if they're magic. I get a magical note off of any of them?
No.
No.
Damn. I was wondering if, like, as a player, I was wondering if Cursive, like, essentially made key cards.
No, that was yesterday.
We're playing Doom.
That's true.
Dun, 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 dun. All right.
Blue key card required. No, just kidding.
Right.
Exactly.
I think as we're traveling down these long corridors, Cursive, just for the record, I think I'm going to be swapping to my light hammers to throw at whoever comes around a corner.
And decked with a hammer.
Funk. You're just going Thor on somebody.
Absolutely.
Peek around the corner here.
Nothing there.
All right. Next room, I guess.
Which room?
The one I'm standing by.
The one on the left there. It does seem to bear a simple lock.
Oh, tricks. All right, lock time. Watch my back as I fumble with this.
I would like to ready an action, Cursive. For anyone who happens to walk in on us, I would like to ready a command spell.
That's fine. And you do pick open the lock, Doug.
All right, open.
So, the workshop looks like it was abandoned in a hurry. You can see that the stools and chair by the study desk are tripped over, and the last occupant did not bother to collect his utensils or roll up the ragged cloth laid out over the workbench in the middle of the room.
I'm assuming there's nothing on the cloth then.
There seems to be what looks like you see some sparkling silver, as it seems to be a bunch of hollow tubes connected with some wire to a kind of like a halo. Looks like a kind of like a wind chime.
Hmm.
But otherwise, perception or survival could assist you.
Sure. Perceive of things.
Can I also perceive of things?
Everyone can. You're all there.
Perception.
Getting damn, Sarik. Look at you go.
I do not perceive.
Sarik and Dev, you're able to tell that it looks like a small humanoid and a medium humanoid had a scuffle in here.
I have a theory about this. I don't know in Pathfinder First that if there's any kind of system or ability checks or anything associated with like evidence collection or looking for things that are like marks of a previous person you'd already been investigating.
Survival. And then like evidence is perception.
So you're thinking a gnome was in here, huh?
Yes, I think that I don't know how they got here after being what I believe to be absconded into here. But actually, hold on. First, can I do a perception check to see what this workshop is for? Like if it's a specialized workshop? Because you said we're like in an embalming place, right?
Correct.
So yeah, could I like see if this is like a specialized workshop or something?
Looking at it, it looks like it is. Most of the tools seem to be set for medium-sized creature, but the ones that were left seems to be sized for small.
Okay, but they're like embalming tools.
This one seemed to be less embalming. It seems more diagnostic. Looks kind of medical. You do
Interesting. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Looking at them, you would see a couple you don't directly identify. Do you have knowledge religion or knowledge arcana?
Knowledge religion.
Okay, go ahead and give me a roll. Sarik, you're not certain, but as you're looking over it with Dev, you would recognize that some of the smaller tools that bear no real purpose to the tip of them, you'd realize are lightly enchanted to glow with certain features. Most likely it's used for identifying or determining if parts of it are undead or semi-undead. Looks like these are definitely someone who wants to investigate undead more so than create them.
And those are sized for a small creature.
Correct.
But the rest of them are sized for a medium creature.
All the ones on the walls that aren't currently disheveled and left out are sized for medium, and looks like most of the people here are... All the rings and such you found were sized for medium.
Are there drag marks, signs of a scuffle? Like as in like signs of struggle or like blood, something that shows like a clear confrontation and victor?
Nuts. You see what looks like pretty clear drag marks that go either in the northwest or north to south direction, as if something was taken from the north door to the south or south to the north, but as well as from here to the library. And you're still hearing the sounds every so often of steps and shuffling coming from that room as well. They seem to be more frequent and kind of nearest the door, but not on the door.
Okay. There's definitely still some missing pieces. This is what I think so far, and I would like to soundboard with you guys about it. I think that somehow our little gnome either was abducted or really did just leave in a very big hurry from their office, forgetting their incredibly important tools, got here, broke in a similar fashion that we did, taking advantage of the sheer chaos going on outside, trying to stop it. I think he got into that room and was trying to either dissect or look at either a mummy or another undead figure related to his mummy. I think someone caught him, and I believe there was a struggle ensued, and I think they've taken him away with him.
Yeah.
That makes sense. We should take the tools with us in case they're important.
Yeah,
What's
we
my
can gather
intelligence?
those.
Hold on, am I fucking... That's 12 intelligence. That's above average. Makes sense. Good perception. Am I being meta? Cursive?
No, you're doing fine.
Okay.
I was gonna say mostly the same. Right, that seems logical.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Is there one last thing I want to check with that room? Is there any... Are any of the tools used? Like, as in, like, is there any, like, blood still on them? Any kind of formaldehyde still on them? Like, signs of it actually being in use?
Definitely some things of what look like some, like maybe some detritus from an old body.
Okay.
Greer's gonna go around and start, like, carefully taking the tools and packaging them away in case we need them for something later.
Yeah, looks like in the cloth that was also where it was being worked on, seems like there's little pockets that were made for the tools. As if it's both a work mat and a little, kind of like Dexter roll-up tool bag.
Sweet.
I love this gnome. He had a tool roll. I love him. Yeah, for sure. Okay. Well, I don't know what to expect coming up, but what I can tell you is you should expect that I will have my hammer out, and I would suggest you do something similar.
Twin Streak's like, why did he have woodworking tools for working on a body?
Yeah, right. What is that? A hand plane? What are you doing in here? But yeah, the rest of the investigation that we're doing here, I fully expect us to run into hostiles.
Yeah. Garrick will get their rifle ready, cast major armor on themselves.
I'm gonna try this north door.
I will
a
cast
warehouse or
guidance
something.
one more time.
The double door one? Oh, that one? Okay. Yeah, that one is unlocked.
Casting guidance,
Oh, excuse me.
just in case.
All right, I'm gonna push this one open.
Yeah, you see 5 pairs of shelves loaded with boxes standing up side by side, dividing the area in 4 parts.
All right, I'm gonna go in to clear it out, or look around.
Yeah, most of the boxes seem to be holding objects of scientific importance, but they don't seem to be worth a lot or in the best of conditions or makes. But some of them look like they're definitely old or probably are awaiting restoration. Some seem to be marked for analysis, and some just seem to be like marked for classwork. So it seems like they probably do some educational work.
Can I do a perception to see if any are recently disturbed?
A lot of them are supposed to be made of stone, so I imagine checking it, you'd be able to check pretty easily and be like, no, most of them look pretty undisturbed. Looks like somebody rifled through, but no one's been using anything here.
Hmm.
You do find one shelf that looks like it, that along this area here, as there is a section that could hold up to 3 medium-sized bodies, and looks like it even has what look like, not quite meat hooks, they look like they're, from their positioning, more to hook underneath the arms. And it looks like they could basically store cadavers there. And it looks like that's where the drag marks originated.
So the body racks have drag marks. Great.
Well, that definitely doesn't say anything about what we're about to find. Are there any signs of a gnome?
No, nowhere in the stacks.
Oh, that'd be too easy.
All right. Let's go and figure out what the lumbering, scary noise is.
I've got a couple bets.
Come on.
Yeah, I would like to reapply guidance, and then can I ready a command just as we go into that room?
Yeah.
Okay. Listen, maybe I'm paranoid because we ran into one recently, and I feel like I definitely feel like Dev and I are on the same page about this, but so make sure we're all on the same page. Fairly certain there is some kind of mummy or just, more cursed undead. Obviously, we're all thinking it. I just, wanted to vocalize it, make sure that we're all on the same page.
I am on the same page. In fact, I am getting out a vial of holy water as we speak.
Do we have to worry about preserving it?
If it's undead, I believe it still counts as a combatant according to the Pharasman, so no.
Cool.
You might have to give it a last rite after it's done with, but that's afterwards.
Well, if there is one of those and it starts attacking, I'll set it on fire.
Fire is usually good for things, yeah. Especially undead. Especially potentially, mummies seem to be pretty weak to it lately.
Yes.
It's the thing I'm good at.
That it is. All right.
Has found his true calling.
Arsene.
Well, that and seducing all forms of other elementals. Be it for seducing them to be their pet, like James, or to, hey, hot sand lady. Well, she's...
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say she's literally, never mind. Anyways.
Hobbs, listen. I'm gonna take one of my torches. I'm gonna put it in the spot on my belt where I'd normally hang my hammer.
Mm-hmm.
In the event that I become bound again, like what happened last time, would you please set the torch on fire?
Not a bad plan.
How much gold you got? Yeah, I'll do it.
Thanks.
What
and then
a
like
good guy.
like the hammer ring thing that people use instead of like a sheath, right?
Yeah, like
I'm just gonna hang it.
like a like the loop on the carpenter's
Yeah.
sheet.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just gonna hang my torch in that.
Got it.
I'm actually gonna give everyone an unlit torch, and I say, put this somewhere where I can hit you.
Okay.
In case the worst happens, I don't want to set you on fire. I'd rather set the wrappings on fire. So give me a clear, visible target.
I'm pretty resistant to fire.
Okay.
So immolate them. Just kidding. All right.
I don't think Char would have a problem with it.
I'm going to get ready to throw this holy water if someone else wants to open the door.
Yeah, I'll open it. I'm feeling good in my heavy armor.
As you go down to grab the thing, it feels super secure. Like you can tell it's locked, but it seems locked beyond like you know how like normally how you like turn a handle and you feel that it's locked. It doesn't even budge.
Could I do a perception or something?
Perception, knowledge arcana, spellcraft, even knowledge religion, because they also get the spell, or detect magic. All could probably answer that.
Do a knowledge religion. Can I do knowledge religion and perception?
Yeah.
Okay.
I will detect magic.
Did you say spellcraft was one of them?
Yes, spellcraft is one of them that'll probably. There's definitely some sort of magic holding it, Sarik. Hobbs, you'll be able to recognize it as arcane magic, and you can recognize specifically after looking at it for a bit that is someone arcane locked and already rather exceptional looking lock. So that thing is super locked. I will tell you guys from the blueprint you say that is a door right there.
I was going to say, it's like, wasn't there a door in the other room? We're not getting through this door.
Fine.
Not
we'll
with
go
that
to this door.
attitude.
Well, just in case, anybody happen to have dispel magic?
No.
Not at this level, no. That's a
No.
level 3 spell.
I was about to say, I'll give you all of the gold currently in my pouch if you can get through this door.
I was wondering. I wasn't sure what level dispel magic was in Pathfinder.
Your only hope for dispel magic in this case would be if someone had rolled a drow noble or a drow normal and taken the feats for it. But
I'm just saying, if there's no door, it can't be locked.
Right? How many acid splashes would that take?
I was thinking about getting gunpowder.
Just blow it open. Yeah, fair.
Yes.
I will check this door real quick.
okay.
Is
Give
it
me a
also locked?
perception.
Oh, okay.
Interesting question for you, Sarik. I need you to roll me a stealth check.
Ah, that's not gonna go well. I can tell you right now. Where's my stealth?
Just roll high, forehead.
Oh, this is gonna be bad, boys and girls. I have a -5. Well, I got an 18.
That's really good for what you rolled, but so as soon as you go to kind of start like lean over and start examining it, the door rips open and just come lumbering out is looks like a female form but clad in linens, and this seems to be some form of mummy as it just lunges out towards you. As this thing was very much hearing you guys in here talk and work and shit, and yeah.
Fucking called it.
Yep.
Sarik, it's a female. I don't know which one of my 2 priorities I should go for.
Fire.
I'm gonna need you to set this one on fire.
Okay.
Give me 1 second though, because it's getting a turn here. Movement action is ripping open the door, as that door was unlocked.
Let me just get you my AC straight away.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna go for a slam.
So flat-footed or regular?
This would be flat-footed.
20.
All right. Let me get to its stats, as I had just gotten those up.
Sure it is.
Oh, you guys are gonna.
I just realized I don't have mage armor on. That's fine.
Okay, so as a reminder, I'm gonna need all of you to roll a will save at the start of your turns, just because I'm saying that now, so that I don't forget. Yeah, but this is the part that you guys are all gonna probably hate me for.
Is it plus 15?
That's the
Holy
part.
shit.
Ow.
This is not a
hell
fake
of a
mu-
mummy.
This is not a fake mummy. This is a real mummy. They are CR5. You are level 2.
Well, it was
Yeah,
nice knowing
that'd
y'all.
be rough. Yeah, that's
If we-
one past my AC.
If we went on numbers alone, if it rolled a 1, it would still hit me.
Yeah. Oh, yep.
My AC is 14.
I hope you can play keep away, Hobbs.
It would have missed me if I wasn't flat-footed.
It would have missed me if I wasn't flat-footed.
Freak. You take 14 points of bludgeoning damage.
Jesus fucking Christ. Wait, am I down? No. Oh my god, that's so close though.
Deal with it. That's its entire turn. However, your skin immediately begins blackening from where it touched you.
This is fun. Should we roll initiative?
Yes, this is initiative, and please don't let it beat you guys. It'll probably kill Sarik.
Ah, Panda, you did join for the TVK. Welcome.
I will remind you guys at the thing I mentioned that Mummy's Mask is well renowned as being a murder campaign. You guys made in this. Oof.
Where's initiative at? Am I having a stroke? Where is this?
It's on the 4 page.
I think it's on your character sheet.
Oh, jeez. Motherfucker. Oh, God, of course. All right. Okay, good. They had 0.
I'm just having a tough time. There it is. Okay. I had the window closed for whatever reason. Like the little drop down.
Oh, thank God. You went faster than it. I was so
Oh,
afraid.
thank God.
Two
And I'm a
slams.
cleric.
Two slams coming your way. It's like, oh no, that's just gonna murder him.
Yeah, like I'm a cleric. I'm notoriously bad. Notoriously bad initiative.
No, instead, Sarika, that is you going first.
Yeah, for sure it is. So I'm definitely I'm within its threatened space, right?
Correct.
Okay.
But you could withdraw.
Yeah, I certainly could. Holy shit! If I 5 foot back, can he still reach me?
No. But he could 5 foot after you, or she could 5 foot after you. Oh, sorry to do this to you. I need a will save first.
Right. That's right. Ooh. No. It'll be a strong 10. Be a 10 plus, if you will.
You have a hero point left. You may want to consider it. I would allow a knowledge religion if you want beforehand to know what exactly is going to happen to you if you fail this.
Just for like stream's sake, I will do that knowledge religion. And I do have 1 hero point.
Yeah, do that knowledge religion. Okay, that is certainly a real mummy looking at it, which fills your head with dread, and you've realized that is the true dread of a mummy. Not only are you certain that the fact that it touched you has now cursed you, but the fact that it's staring into you, and if you fail that will save, you will be paralyzed, which means it could reach over and just snap your neck, kill you however it sees fit.
Yeah, absolutely not. Yeah, I'm gonna hero point that.
Do you want to do a +4 after, or do you want to do a reroll? Don't
Wait,
forget
what?
you guidance yourself.
I did guidance myself, which is a +1. Which would put it at
Apply to the
15.
reroll.
Okay. I don't know. That's so risky.
You rolled a 3, so it's a 1 out of 10 chance you'll roll lower. But
I'm gonna re-roll. Okay, thank God.
you managed to resist.
Okay. Yeah, so withdraw means I don't take attack of opportunities, right? I just get the
Correct.
fuck out of there.
You basically have to move in a straight line away from the enemy, and then your first square does not trigger, which is all you need, as she only has 5 feet of reach.
Holy shit. Yeah, so what, so I guess for me it'd be like this, like out towards Hobbs.
Yeah, you could go diagonal, and you could continue down the hall, really. Because you could go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
I kind of like obviously not right this second, but I want to stay within range of command. So let me check the range on that. It's actually a lot shorter than I thought it was.
25 feet, but that's
Is it
still
25? Okay.
yeah
That's
close.
still plenty far away. I'm just wanting to make sure.
Unless the spell has a specific one, but most spells follow the close, medium, long range.
Right. I will actually move to my full movement, which is 20 feet.
Okay. Withdraw does take both of your things because you have to move. It basically takes your standard action to withdraw because you're carefully moving back.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm aware it's basically disengage.
Yeah, this
I'm
case
getting
is
the
you very
fuck out of
cautiously like, yeah, that thing could easily murder any of you.
Yeah, I'm getting the fuck out of there. And then, luckily, I do know that command is going to be viable this fight, so that's good.
Yes.
But
You also would know that from your roll that zombies mummies are fairly slow. They can charge you, they can run, they can do all that shit, but I mean they are generally slow. Even slower than zombies in the terms of their move speed. They just aren't limited to like zombies only get one action to move, or they can do a charge, whereas this thing gets both of its actions.
right.
But so basically you're aware its speed is 20.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'll relay that information to the party, and then obviously be like, "It's an actual mummy. This one is not just some kind of undead. Stay away from it. Don't look it in the eye." And then I'm gonna pull back out here, and then fuck, man, that's really all I can do right now. He really torched me, like opening. She really torched me, like opening ability. Oof.
Yeah. That was really bad.
That's it for me.
All right, Hobbs, there's a mummy. I need. Oh. Well, you're aware of what happens with a failed one.
Is there anything I can do to like assist with that? Right
Oh.
now?
He has his guidance, so if he's choosing to use it on this roll, it's a +1. But that would obviously most saves
That's gonna
don't.
fail.
Yeah, you're gonna need a hero point.
Yeah, I'm gonna hero point. Try to reroll.
Okay.
It got worse.
Ugh.
All right.
Rip.
Oof.
Hobbs, you feel the fear overwhelm you as you just cannot move.
Okay.
We'll roll for duration after one turn, so because you don't know how long it's gonna last.
Okay.
I would say out of character, you know that it lasts a D4 rounds, but Griark.
Okay. Do I know anything about mummy vulnerabilities or weaknesses or anything?
You can roll knowledge religion, but I do need your will save first.
Oh, that's right. Well, I guess I'm fucking spending my last hero point. God, I wish I could keep
This
hold of
is
these
literally
things.
everyone is spending it on the one mummy. Oh my
Fucking
god. Okay,
19.
that you are immune to it.
Yay. Alright, you said religion? I
Yes,
don't have
all
religion,
religion.
so I'm fucked. Well, I'm gonna guess Raps fire bad, so I'm gonna burn a first level spell. I don't need this floating disc to add flaming to my gun.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm gonna take a shoot shots.
Okay, so it's a moment that you
Good
almost feel that fear just paralyze you, and then you charge her with energy and ready your gun. No mercy, Percy, this bitch.
20 to touch.
That'll hit.
And 3 fire damage on top of the normal damage. Actually, that'd be 5 damage because of the enhancement bonus, but yeah.
Rather horrifying to watch as you see as the bullet itself just passes right through it, but the flames and just illuminate the mummy on fire. It seems that the bullet did absolutely no damage, but the flames did everything.
Correction report. My bullets do nothing. Our flame guy is paralyzed. Let's run and burn this place down.
Not the worst idea I've heard.
I can't really do anything but swift act. Oh no, swift action does the fire thing. I can't really do anything, and it's just like I don't want to leave Hobbs paralyzed and at risk. So I guess I'm staying put.
You can spend a move action to pick him up if you're strong enough.
Probably not. How strong am I? I have a strength of 13.
Hobbs, what is your strength and con scores? I can use it. I can use it to calculate your relative weight.
My strength score is 13. My con score is 14.
Okay, so you should be able to overarm like fireman carry. You would definitely be slowed for the prospect. So
yeah, considering they're paralyzed and they're our fire artillery, it's like I just want to grab them and start moving them down the hall.
Is there anything that we can do, like as players, to, like pull them out of paralysis?
You would need an effect that removes it. Since it's a magical source, you can't. You would need. In this case, it's a remove fear, and you would be aware of that. Anything that removes fear would get him out of it. But so like you need a presence of a paladin. You would the remove fear spell is a level 1 spell, but you would need access to it. If you had a hero point left, you could spend a hero point to gain access to it for a battle. But unfortunately, you had to spend it to not get fucked.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, Griark's getting set to put the paralyzed Hobbs' arm over her shoulder. Dev.
Yep.
We really might just want to get the fuck out of here.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, you are fine. And Char is fine. I'm very glad for that because I was like, I do not want this mummy to just like if Char got paralyzed and Dev had to retreat and this mummy goes up and just murders the dog, I'd be like, that would ruin my night.
Yeah.
And one is running from a bear.
Okay, well, I am going to. I'm going to 5 foot up. I'm going to close the door. And then I'm going to try and shove the crowbar in this door jam.
Good call. Okay. Give me a disable device. This would be creating a rudimentary lock.
You do have guidance.
Okay, and I am going to just go ahead and burn a hero point for +8.
Okay.
Yeah, fuck it. Fuck it, do not risk it. Don't blame you.
As soon as I can get the table device. Yeah.
Pretty high.
That
So
is
a
very
30.
32.
32.
33 guidance.
33 with guidance, yeah. Yeah, so you jam it in there, which does bring it to its turn. Oh, because you have closed the door, Hobbs, you have broken out of the paralyze.
That's a very interesting thing.
Yeah, you didn't get high enough to get that easy cure. It's as long as the mummy remains in sight.
Sarik, someone pissed my pants.
You are all immune for 24 hours from that mummy's particular despair, but
Oh, Jesus.
But it does go on to the mummy's turn, and it's going to try to break the door down. So it's going to go for a single turn break check, as there's just a thundering crack to the wood. It has a fairly high strength, and it would be applying that, so it'll be getting a bonus to it. Okay, space attacks is 6, so it's getting a +3. Okay, your disable device does increase that one. The wood splinters. It is almost broken already. So you do know that like that's probably gonna hold it maybe about 10 seconds, if you're lucky. And it just slams against it and almost comes off the hinges off one. All right, Sarik.
Okay. Man, I'm really hurt.
Yeah, you are.
But I really don't. I really want to use Well, the mummy's not through yet.
No. Hasn't even broken the door yet. If the door breaks, it becomes difficult terrain to pass through, and they can attack through it as cover.
They can?
Yes, it's kind of the here's Johnny. So,
Okay.
but it does take them a 4-round action to do a full break. But then that's them trying to bypass damaging the door and just going to full on snap it.
Could I just attempt a knowledge religion to just check their resistances?
I mean, from your prior roll, you would know that they are. I think they might be weaker. They are vulnerable to fire, so they take 50% more from fire.
Okay. I wouldn't have any idea of well, no, never mind. That's a bit too far.
You would know that most weaponry won't hurt them, but most energy hurts them just fine, except for things that don't affect undead. You would know that Disrupt Undead Wand works fine. That Holy Water would work fine.
Okay, so 25 feet is the range of command. This is the door. Well, that's not where it's going at. Right here. There we go. So I could effectively be in this square behind me, right? And then, can I 5 feet back and then potentially ready a command spell for when the mummy becomes vulnerable for command? Like when they come through the door?
Yeah, you could do that.
Okay, I want to do that. Because if they have a speed of 20, I would like to do 25. At the very least. And then, yeah, I would like to ready a command spell so that the moment that they either rip open that door enough to attack Dev, basically just as soon as they become vulnerable, right? As soon as they become vulnerable to command. And that'll be it for me.
Go ahead and click your command spell for me. There might be something about it.
Yeah, sure. Hold on. One moment.
You would only need to be aware of the position or location based on sound, so you wouldn't need to see it in order to command it.
Oh, I can command it right now.
Yeah, because the fact that she can probably hear you.
Oh, I will command it right now.
Yeah.
Let me see. Well, fuck, it's kind of just behind the door. Yeah, I will command it to. I will attempt command. Let me just start that. So,
What are you going to tell it to do?
I would like to command it to lay down. Just simply lay down on the ground. Be prone.
So fall.
Yeah.
Grovel.
Be cool.
As a mote of good or helpful DM one, are you sure you want to do that one? Because she'd still be able to attack the door.
Oh, well then flee.
Yeah, flee or halt would prevent her from attacking the door.
Is that what halt does? Oh wait, hold on, let me read this.
Halt.
I'm not super versed in cleric spells just yet.
Halt tells them just to do nothing. They just stand there.
Yeah, actually I will command halt, actually. As a matter of fact, thank you very much. I'm not super familiar with this yet.
Yep. Just
I'd like
helping
to command it to cope, seethe, and then mauled.
Natural 1, double duration.
Okay, perfect.
So you
that'll be
hear the
2
rattling on
rounds.
the door stop.
Perfect. And then that's my turn.
And so as soon as Sarik just kind of bellows out a rather commanding stop, and then it just stops. You're aware, Sarik, that it's not going to last more than a few seconds, but you know. Hobbs, you're free of the paralysis.
Lovely. I want to try to set something up then, knowing that this isn't going to last forever. I need to wait until Div gets away from the door, though.
Okay, you could communicate that so they know.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, Div, I'm going to light that fucker up, so I need you to step back. And I have flasks of oil from my dungeoneering kit.
Yes, you do.
When Div steps away, I don't know if this would be 2 separate actions or 1 action or what you would roll it as, but the first thing I want to do is throw a flask of oil at the door. So even if it breaks through it, the door will still be covered in oil. And the second thing I want to do would be use my flaming cantrip to light the oil on fire. So as it's trying to burst through, it is going to be bursting through a broken on fire door, and so hopefully it'll take more damage by trying to get through.
Fun fact, if you hold something or have the ability to ignite things in your hand, such as with magic, full round action allows you to prepare and toss a flask of oil like a Molotov cocktail.
That is exactly what I'm going to do then. As soon as Div steps away the door, I'm going to Molotov cocktail the door.
Okay. Good call. Okay, Griark.
I guess I probably don't have a shot through the door.
I mean, you're aware of her position, but no, you don't really see anything.
I mean, I'm going to just get in position. Yeah, I'm just going to also hold for when, or if she breaks through the door and like, basically, all right, let me think. I want to hold a burning hands for when she makes her way to the space where Dev is right now.
Okay.
Work off to something that Dev is going to fucking leave.
Keep in mind, you guys are aware that she got the natural one on the thing for a little bit of meta. So you are aware that, like, yeah, she's going to be holding an extra round.
I mean, I don't really have anything else I can do unless I just shoot through the door.
Yeah, and I'll just simply ask you guys if there's anything else you want to do for this next round, too. And then we'll just move to her actual turn.
Is there really a reason I shouldn't try to just shoot through the door?
No,
You
bullets
can
can
set it
make...
on fire somewhere. Fuck it.
Yeah, bullets can
Yeah,
make through the
fire.
door, and...
I have
Yeah,
more
fine.
flasks of
I'll-
oil if you want to Molotov cocktail other areas of this.
I'm good with the shot.
Yeah.
Because the
Yeah.
shot has a chance to, well, anyways,
For a piercing shot through the door, it just increases the AC by double the cover rating, so total cover. So that's how you figure out if a bullet goes through. So,
yeah. So switch
and then it's
action
based on the
reload.
material.
and
These are
take a
shitty
shot.
stone or shitty wood. So yeah, I mean it's not a terribly.
Nah, that was a waste. Oh well.
Ooh. That's a miss.
Oh, yeah, but I got crits, so I can just click
Yeah.
clear that.
Yeah, but you have another round coming, but we'll go in order here. So Dev.
Okay, I'm gonna tell Char to get out of the room.
He bounds out and kind of growls in the direction of the thing.
Going to pull out a bag of caltrops, and I'm going to drop it on the ground.
Good call. Caltrops are
Yes.
useful. I do believe they also slow movement, don't they?
I think so, yes.
As long as the damage remains, and mummies might not take the time to do so, or to remove it.
And then I 5 foot.
Cursive, I'm just trying to be transparent. For whatever reason, forbid action is not on my character sheet, but I have it from my cleric stuff.
Okay. It is your next turn, Sarik.
Never mind, I'm dumb. I do have forbid action on here. Jesus. Let me. I'm not actually casting this. I just want to roll this so I can see what the wording is.
Yeah.
Forbid the action. Let's see. Does it
That one
require
does have a targeting one, so you would need to see them
targeting?
since it has the range.
Oh,
That
okay,
basically
so
tells us it
that's-
has line of effect.
Okay, so that's how you're determining it. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Then yeah, I'm not casting it right now. I just want to see what's going on.
I wiggle my butt at you, and you see a tiny little healing potion hanging from one of my belts.
Yeah, I'll actually. So I
Please-
can.
Please take.
He's
hold
backing the
on.
train up.
So I can cast because of the house rulings we have. Like I can cast like let's say cure light wounds at a higher spell level or no.
Caster, yeah, you could basically use another slot, and then, but that's not going to increase your caster level for it. It's just a higher. That doesn't give you more healing. It just increases the DC. So like if you're using that to damage the mummy, yes, that would work. It would increase the will save. It won't make it do more damage though.
Okay. Then never. I'm just gonna cast a basic cure light wounds on myself.
Okay. Roll away. Yeah, that one's just a concentration. It doesn't have a roll on attached.
Yeah, my bad.
Oh, you're good.
So 4.
Are you guys level 2? Or no, you still level 1?
We're level
No,
2.
we're level 2. So
Oh,
far.
okay, so 5. Oops. I'll take.
Alright. Hobbs. If you want to maintain ready for the Molotov, you can.
I mean, he backed away from the door. I'm gonna have the door on fire as he's trying to break through it to at least start the damage off early.
We
Okay.
have one more round before.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was going to prep something for round 2 then as well. I was going to prep a secondary fire spell, so whenever I see its arms actually starting to burst through the door, I can target it as well.
Yeah. Okay. So if you want to, you can easily do that. So that at this point you've Molotov the door and it's starting to burn.
Mhm.
I would say that since it was only a couple points of damage based off it because it was literally one off the DC of breaking it. So I was treating it as about to splinter. So I'd say the damage on the fire you do see as the holes, and you see her just standing there waiting as her eyes are just kind of glowing in your direction.
That's fine.
But
Would that have been my held action, or would that be...
that was your held action, but this is your new turn, so you're fine. Continue on.
Okay, then if I see it, I'm going to fire blast it as well. Even if it has a little bit of an extra AC because of the door.
Yeah, it still has the cover, but you can see it, yeah. And touch spells don't care about that amount, so that'll hit. So it gets 50% more damage, so a little bit more, but you do burn her a bit. And I need to...
I'm gonna 5 foot back to here. I don't know exactly what space Char is on, but...
I had him there.
Yep,
Okay.
alright. That's it.
Griark, you can see her.
Problem is, Dev is still sort of in the path of the fire, but
Well, it's a precise shot attack, though. It ignores allies like that.
oh well. I was thinking on more of the
Yeah, I just shot-
burning
I just
hands, but
Fire
Oh, yeah,
right-
burning hands. It would.
burning
Yeah.
hands I have to.
Well, technically, you could start it at this corner. If you start at that
Yeah.
corner and hit that wall, you would ignore Dev.
Yeah, fair
Hey.
enough.
And those are stone walls. They're
chance,
framed by
probably,
wood.
yeah. So I will, using my gun as a focus, cast Burning Hands,
Okay.
which doesn't really need. Oh wait, no, I can't do it. I can't do Burning Hands to that. I forgot. No, just cast Burning Hand normally. DC 14.
Roll the
one.
natural one. Double damage.
Yeah.
Good. Considering zombies get a pile of HP.
So
House rules
14.
thing. All right, so applied. Yeah, with the house rolls even more, but you guys are damaging it. Oh wait, 14. And then 14 with another 7 on top of that, actually.
Yes.
Yay!
All right. Yeah. Oh, did you have
back
something
up
else
just
there?
a little bit? Just back up a little bit.
Dev.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to 5 foot. Actually, the first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pull out holy water and throw it at that bitch.
Yes. Yes.
Range touch attack, please. Hit.
What was it 1d6?
Yes. Yeah, and you would see that positive energy connects and she burns. And she
Alright.
waits a second turn, but then starts to move at the end of her turn.
I did 5 foot. All right.
Okay. Sarik. She is moving again.
Okay. She's already. I mean, obviously the door is already down, right?
The door is broken. You can see holes in it. It's kind of a here's Johnny thing. She could reach through it. She could tempt an escape artist to burst through it at this
Mhm.
point. If she has that ability. I mean, you would know mummies are fairly smart, so...
Right. Just want to make sure I'm aware of Hobbs' plan because I really like it. So, Hobbs, you're intending that after the door comes down to Molotov her or to Molotov the door?
The door's already Molotoved. The door
Yes.
is currently on fire. Her reaching through it should possibly damage her, and then even her
Definitely will.
breaking it down, she still now has tiny pieces of fire kindling that are going to hit the ground along with the caltrops. So I'm literally just trying to set the area around her on fire and keep her burning and slow.
Okay.
A little better for the...
I have a question
can
for you,
see it.
Aya. if I
What's
were
up?
to use command, and let me cast it real quick just so I can read it real fast. Actually, I'm just gonna scroll up. 'Cause
I don't want to metagame too hard, but can you hold a command?
Yes.
Can you like wait until she's over the caltrops and then try to command her to grovel at that moment?
Yeah.
Oh,
Or
it's-
you could tell her to flee to go back to the fire.
Yeah.
That too. But like,
what
if she knocks this flaming door down, right, and then the floor is covered in flaming shards of door, and then you're like, all right, lay down.
I was actually thinking about trying to do one a little bit similar.
Yeah, whatever you want.
There is. I'm trying to. Am I having a stroke? There is a command that lets them walk towards you, right?
Yeah, approach.
Right. So if I were to do approach, that door's still up. Would they just kind of walk into the door and press themselves against it, effectively
They would,
burning
if there's
themselves?
something impeding, they would try. If they have an obvious path, they would try to get the thing out of their way. So,
Oh,
like
so
in
they
this
just
case,
intentionally break the door down.
right? Which seems to be what was trying to do, anyways. You don't know if the fire's dissuading her because she can't move.
Right. Okay. Well, shit. If that's the case, yeah. If that's the case, then I actually will hold command because otherwise I was just gonna be like, "Hey, come here," and then just press her into the door, just George Foreman her ass. But no. No, I will actually hold my turn.
Hold, or are you ready? Because holding means that you wait till
okay,
her
I'm
turn
sorry.
resolves.
I will ready a command, and specifically a command fall
Okay,
for whenever she comes through the door.
got it. Okay, Hobbs.
I'm also going to ready something. I'm going to ready for when if his command goes off, or even if it doesn't, like after his thing happens, whether succeed or not, I'm going to ready another one of the Molotovs, and I'm going to throw it on the ground in front of her.
Okay, understood.
Like if she falls, it's going to be on her. If she doesn't, it's going to be where she's walking. Essentially
Yep.
that area. Okay.
Keep in mind, you can also aim to hit her, and it's been clear her touch AC is shit. And so if you hit her, she's immolated, which means the fire goes wherever she goes.
Yeah, that's fine too. I'll do that.
Okay. Griark.
I'm just gonna burn a higher level spell. Or no, I have multiple spells, so that's all I'm talking about. I'm gonna just oh wait, did I move out of range of burning hands? Was that dumb? I think I'm still within range.
Oh, you're still within range.
Yeah, so another burning hands in. DC 14 reflex.
That one she makes.
Fuckity foo.
Well,
Still
she takes
half.
Yeah, she takes half and then gets 50% more off the half.
So 5, half.
Goes down to 2, goes down,
Yeah.
goes back up to 3.
Yeah, a little bit of damage.
It's all adding up. Dev.
I'm gonna pull out another holy water and throw it at the bitch again.
Okay. Throw again.
Don't put out the fire.
It's a vial of holy water. It would be impressive if it did. One of my favorite spells is Holy Ice Spears. You take a vial of holy water and then you cast it and it eats the vial and it turns it into spears of holy water ice.
I want to do that.
Be useful right now.
It's a wonderful spell and you should look it up. It's amazing. It's very underrated. That is a hit. Roll away.
Take the holy ice spear, and then I use my spell transfiguration to turn it into a fire spear of holy damage.
Oh,
Oh, if
question.
you want that's just searing light.
Okay, that works too.
Does point blank
What's
shot
up?
affect these?
Yeah, I've been applying it.
Okay.
So another burn to her.
I'm gonna tell Char to go around the corner.
Okay. Yeah, so Char does as he's ordered.
I don't think he's going to be very helpful here.
All right. Which goes on to her. And sure enough, yeah, she's going to try to bust through. Which she does splinter the door. She does not have escape artist, so she can't attempt that one. She does manage to break it as the fire is breaking it down more, so she's basically ripping off a portion of it. Give me a d6, please, Hobbs.
Sure
As
thing.
fire's burning her hands. Oh, nice.
Yes.
That's 9 damage.
Fire is my thing.
Uh,
Fire and disappointing women.
She can try a strength one to just, since it is broken now, to try to force it open. So, because that's a good use of her move action, even though it does put her right in your trap. But she's not that smart. But actually, your crowbar is holding.
Oh, nice. Get fucked.
But that is her shoulder checking against the door, so that's a reflex. Or she takes damage, but she only adds 3. But it is a 15. So yeah, she doesn't take any fire damage from the shoulder check, but otherwise she is pushing against it. But that buys you guys one more turn.
How much of the door has she broken?
It's about 2/3 to 3/4 broken.
Then can I just use my held action to just fucking throw it at her through what's broken?
Yeah.
What would I roll for that?
That's a ranged touch attack. So use your ranged attack, and we're just applying it to her touch. If you look at your attack one, you'll have that.
Oh shit.
And then you're getting a +1 for that's gonna hit.
13.
So she gets a reflex save to not get immolated, but otherwise then she is otherwise on fire. Which, given her bonus, let's see, with the direct hit, that's a 15. But the one applies, and she is on fire already. Nope. So she is immolated.
Lovely.
And let's see, a oil is a d6 fire.
All right. One more d6 for you.
So for 3 more, and then at the start or the end of any of her turns, because it's a spell that makes her burn at the start. So at the end of her turns, if she has not put out the fire, she burns for another d6.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah, and she doesn't even seem that plussed by it. I mean, it's very clearly burning her very profusely, so it's not like she's immune to it. It's just she just seems to be very single-minded. Sariq.
If I were to forbid action attack, would that prevent her from knocking the door down?
She'd have to try to open the door. She could basically only try to, but yeah, she wouldn't be able to try to break it.
I'm wondering if it's worth it, because now she's immolated, so it's almost better to keep her further away and just simply tack on the damage over time. It'd be nice to do more direct damage, but also keeping her away is also super cool.
Can we doubly immolate her? How far
Yeah,
into
you can
immolation?
intensify it. If you intensify the fire, the damage goes up. There are stages of fire. Inferno fire damage is when the entire room and every square around you is on fire. That's 22d6.
I have 3 more flasks of oil.
Yeah, if you put more oil on her, she gets worse.
Okay, so question about the house ruling. You said that if I were to use that on like something that damages, like if I were to use like a level 2 spell slot, that it would increase, like, for example, like the DC, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, so if I were to use that on a command spell, my DC being 14, what would it be at a level 2 spell slot? Like, how would I calculate that so I
15.
don't have to bug you about it? Would it just be 15?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. But like I said, she's already on fire, and we can already see her through the door. So I almost feel like it's more worthwhile to like keep her on that side and just have her buddy, since we have so much range damage, to just keep burning her.
Fine with me.
I will attempt a level 2 command fall. Where's my
No,
command?
You're 1/3 of telling her to stop, drop, and roll. She might put out the fire.
So that's actually a DC 15. She can't do anything except for lay prone if it works.
All right. I was just checking one thing. I think that's a success. I don't think her will add. She adds. Oh no, she adds 9. Okay.
Ah, so she passed.
Yeah, so she resists that.
That's a high save.
Well, I don't believe I can do anything else really.
You want to throw more oil on her with me?
I'm fully out of actions.
All right, Griark.
Seems like she's mobile again.
She's mobile again. Yes, she's on fire and she's trying to break her way through the door. She just got burnt by the door and she got immolated by Hobbs.
Don't think that's gonna work on her. I mean, I really have nothing but fucking just trying to do more burning hands, so I'm gonna pop it up to a second level spell slot. Hit her with another burning hands. So DC 15. We have an Arcanist point. I'll spend an Arcanist point up that to DC 16.
Okay. And that's a will or a reflex from her.
Yeah.
Another natural 1.
Nice. Keep rolling those.
Yeah, that's 3 natural 1s on her saves here.
So didn't roll very well though, unfortunately.
3 goes to 6, which turns into 9. So still burning.
And then if she's mobile, Greer, she's gonna be like start backing up.
Yeah, she's taking a ton of damage. You guys are looking at this like, holy fuck, these things are sturdy. Dev.
This might be dumb. I'm going to pull out the net that I bought, and I'm going to get ready to throw it at her when she gets through.
Okay, yeah, you can draw down, unfurl it, and prepare. Okay.
I'm like, as long as you don't get closer.
All right, which goes on to her turn. Yeah, so she's going to try to finish breaking the door down to move through it, which for her requires pretty much anything that's not a 4 or less. So she smashes it with a standard action and begins walking in. Give me 2d6 of fire, please, Hobbs.
Sure thing.
And then Caltrops are what, 1 point of damage? Holy fuck!
Like I said, I'm
Damn.
good at 2 things: setting things on fire and disappointing women, and I'm doing both today.
The Caltrops, their entry, they just said they're a point of damage when they move through it, right? And then they
No,
get
it's an attack roll.
Okay. If you want to roll it then. Because she shuffles towards you.
Yeah, base attack 0, but ignores creature's shield, armor, and deflection bonuses. Wearing shoes or footwear gets.
They are not.
So I know that's the damn bare feet I was hearing smacking around.
Now she's actually wearing clogs.
18.
That'll hit.
Alright, Caltrops deal 1 point of damage. Creature speed is reduced by half. Treat it with a heal check. Magical heal.
Yeah, so she just lumbers up to you. Still on fire. Go ahead and roll me another d6 for her being immolated. And she just lumbers up and just kind of exhales her breath in your face, Dev, as she's on fire. And...
Before she moves, I had ready to throw a net at her.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You got the net.
She's very on fire, by the way. She's like super on fire.
Yeah, she is. So go ahead and give me a range touch attack for the net. That's a hit. She's entangled.
Tangled
Which
and
I believe
half
halves
speed.
Yeah, I think entangled halves her speed again, so she's quarter speed, which means she cannot go very far at all. You technically control the tether, but I mean that means she can't move past 5 feet as you net her in. She just she looks down and she's aware of the Caltrops and looks at you and just instead they just like at you.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, I get it.
But you would see as it looks like one of her arms is starting to detach. Like it looks like she is at her like literally last limb. But Hobbs, she's still up.
Yeah, cool. I'm fucking throwing another Molotov cocktail at her. I will not stop until either I run out of oil or she is dead. Ah, shit. I rolled really bad.
Oh, there's a lucky thing though. 8 is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's the desk. Good thing you took the tools. And then go ahead and roll me a d6, please. It doesn't have splash damage, but it starts on fire. Okay, that is a very big fire starts up on the table. So she is surrounded. She herself is on fire, and she has fire on 2 sides of her.
Close enough.
That is a level 3 fire then. You have increased the damage of her burn.
Wahaha. All right, I 5 foot.
3.
Okay, one more question about these house rulings. You remember me asking about those bonus spell slots and I have one that's like up to like level, what was it, level 4 because I have 18 wisdom?
Yep.
Okay, so that means I could take command and then use the level 4 spell slot on it, right?
Correct.
Okay, which would raise the DC to, hold on a second. So that would raise it to what? 18?
17.
17?
If your baseline is for level
Baseline is
1,
14.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so you'd be adding 3.
Okay. I will attempt, but she's just standing there, right, in a net. She hasn't like fallen
Yeah.
down.
The net is burning very quickly.
She's
Right.
standing there in a net, on fire, surrounded by fire, in caltrops.
If she were to lay down right now, she would take additional fire damage as well
Yes.
as like damage from caltrops.
The Caltrops will get another attack, yeah.
I
Yep.
will absolutely burn my level 4 spell slot for a command fall.
Okay.
Go
So
tell her to
Be
do
a
paperwork.
be a DC 17.
No.
No.
You just kind of like her jaw partly distending, just turns her head and just stares at you. You get that little chill down your back, but you're like, oh god, am I pale? No.
Fuck. Really wanted that to work.
I know,
Can you
me
use
too.
your hero point to make her reroll?
No, I'm out of hero points.
I was really hoping for that because that would have been cool.
No, I
Yeah.
want to say let me use my hero point to make a reroll. I want it to happen.
Griark.
I also do.
Fuck me, I don't even know what to do. I guess
Not
I'll
right now.
5 foot over here. It feels like it'd be really difficult to fire through these people and hit her, though.
Firearms use precise shot.
Sorry, we've had other things in the past where we've hit bystanders, so
Shoot me, you won't.
I will take a shot at her then.
That was specifically Zeitgeist thing if you fire into the crowd because it's a massive
shit,
crowd.
9.
She is within.
He's
Does it do
entangled.
touch AC? Yeah, while
She's
entangled.
point blank and she's entangled, so that is going to hit. She is an AC 10,
Nice.
guys, for
No,
against
I
touch
wouldn't
attacks.
know.
Against
Really?
touch attacks. Against armor attacks, she's a 20.
5 fire.
Well, 21 actually, but 5 fire. Griark, how would you like to do this?
I was like in a panic, kind of like trying to figure out what to do. I just like raise the gun, fire, whizzes past Hobbs's head, like not hurt close to the head, but like maybe like catch a little bit of that fire head, adds a little extra fire damage to it as it goes, and just hits her in the neck and just decapitates her.
Yeah, she was kind of falling apart, so
It-
and her body kind of spins and falls down. And at first, like since Sarik just finished his spell, he's like, "Oh wait, she fell. Oh, where'd her head go?"
Yeah. Yeah. I command you to fall. Oh. Okay.
The bullet goes through my very on fire, very floofy hair.
You're missing half of it. Remember? You shaved off
I
half.
gave it back. Remember?
Oh right, you
Yeah,
did. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh my god. But yeah, she finally goes down.
Hey
Fuck
guys,
me.
that was easy, right?
I'm gonna use some create water, and I'm gonna ask Deb to also create water. Let's just put these fucking fires out.
No.
I'm gonna put
How
the
dare you, sir?
I'll put
No.
the desk fire out.
I worked hard on these fires.
I'm gonna put I'm gonna put the structural fires out. This bitch can burn. I'm gonna put like the structural
I
fires.
wouldn't
out.
recommend using water.
Why?
They're
Why?
oil fires.
Oh, grease fire.
Well, you
I
know,
was
water's
wondering. I was like,
I am someone who is specialized in fire. I know fire safety precaution.
Do you
do not
have
use
anything
water,
for your fire safety?
Actually, you know what? Use water. Use water.
Okay, well, I'm waiting for a better solution whenever it presents itself. Actually, I'll tell you what.
really
Let it
have
burn.
anything.
I guess since those windows are right there, can I lean out and grab some sand and shit? Just start dousing this stuff in dirt.
as you guys are talking about this, you would actually see as there's suddenly what looks like water, but it doesn't seem to be water. As you'd see some sort of spell hit the door and douses it.
Huh.
I'm gonna ready a command.
Fair enough. You'd see it coming up from down over this direction. That you'd see a little cyan-haired, wide, like very circular, black-rimmed glasses gnome just comes walking out, and just thank you for getting me out of that predicament. Was
You
please
forgot
tell me you're here to
the-
help.
You forgot the very important package that you're not supposed to forget, didn't you?
He stops, and as he starts like kind of walking to this doorway, he stops and just like, why were you snooping in? Why was a kobold snooping in my office?
I think you should be less concerned about that and all your prejudice. And I'm gonna put a hand right on his forehead to aggressively like bonk his forehead, and then also like, do channel energy and just heal everybody in the area.
Yeah.
I mean, the festering sun rose. Everybody got cursed. You were missing. Nobody knew where the fuck you were, so we were sent to investigate.
Yeah.
Well, that makes perfect sense. You know, yeah, that's good call.
Also, I'm glowing now. It's cool.
Yeah, I see
Yes.
that. You tripped my snip snoop trap. That means you were snip snooping.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were missing.
Did you want your pickle?
What? Hey, no, you
Yeah,
didn't eat
I
that, did you?
offered the onion.
He actually kind of snatches. He's like, no, that's important. You need that.
No. You need that.
No, I don't. I don't. Oh God, these are terrible. You don't eat these. These are terrible.
Why do you have this? Was in your desk.
Yes, because there are certain things that really like the taste of them, and they really you can get favors if you. Shit, where's my chime?
Can we address the elephant in the room?
What? There's
What,
an
the
elephant.
mummy?
Why was the mummy attacking? Like, where did this?
I would
Why?
assume that this is the basis of the curse that this gnome was working on.
Oh, good.
Crew's gonna just start poking around the remains.
No,
I hope you don't mind it being on fire.
no. I'm fairly certain that is supposed to be Kapanek. But there was this other guy who came walking through here who started talking about come and rise with the festered sun. And as soon as I heard him, I was checking the mummy and it was dead. And then he said, "Come and rise with the festered sun." And then I saw out of the corner of my eye that she was listening. So then I thought, well, you know what? I'm gonna lock her in with the best spell I got. I burnt an expensive scroll to lock a door, and then I realized there were two doors. So I locked myself in the closet in there.
It's okay. There's only one door now.
As a player, I just want to say that I love this guy. I love this man.
Okay. Well, who was this guy? Because she's dead now.
I think it's Kapanek. The
No,
Kapanek.
Who's the guy that told her to rise?
I don't know. He was big. He had like the head of like an Anubis, but he wasn't. I don't think he was Anubis. That would have been really weird. But like, I don't think Anubis would be like, "Yo, let's go start some shit," because Anubis was supposed to be better than that. But it could be because I never met him.
Okay.
Are you hurt? We got.
No, I'm great, man.
asked
I'm.
to,
He just brushes himself off. I'm kind of sore. And I'll put the jackal. He was kind of wearing a jackal skull for a head. And then he had black robes. Yeah.
Would I know if that's how like the priests of Anubis dress, or like followers of Anubis generally, or is that like an actual avatar of Anubis?
Knowledge, religion.
Okay.
But he does go back into the workshop and picks up that little chime you saw and just.
Also, we have your tools.
Oh, fantastic! I assume they'd be like broken in, or that other guy would have took them.
We lost
No.
half of them in the fire.
No, we did.
Yeah.
No, we got.
You rolled them up in the tool bag. But yeah.
Crew's probably like slowly, unwillingly bringing them out of her bag.
Yeah, why did you guys admit to it?
Because yeah.
That's a fair point. You guys would know that that's not their baseline one. That sounds like a bastardization. Like you guys rolled high enough to know that their normal ones don't, because the normal ones, Anubis is usually not evil. Anubis is neutral, and is usually very much one to work with Pharasma. Doesn't like undead. Most Osirian gods hate the idea of undead. It's like undead should only rise to desecrate, to attack grave robbers, and otherwise should be respectful and even educational. So it seems odd. So it seems like some sort of desecration. At the same time, like Kapanek was supposed to be a like in charge of all these ones and did have some pretty vile, like you don't remember which ones, but you know that she was regarded as having some pretty bad omens that she's been calling for had been calling for that have started to come true. But from the way he's describing it, it sounds like she responded to this guy. Sounds like he ordered her to rise and she rose. If he's correct about this being Kapanek.
Yeah, there was some letter about like 2 heretics or multiple heretics.
Her husband was thought to be a heretic too, but
I wondered if it could have been her husband or something.
that would make sense for why she started getting up.
Could you tell us more about the husband? You've clearly done a lot of research into these.
I did research on the astrological part, but then when it started realizing that it was related to real life people, I thought I had to start looking at people, and I am good with actual people. I am better with like cartography and like magic and and like some history, and a little bit of undead. Well, actually, a fair bit of undead. And I probably should have known more.
Well, I think you'll need this, and I'll hand him his box. Like,
He pulled out the wand and just, you would have been useful.
Yeah, I don't know why none of us used it, but
Holy water.
Fire.
I wondered, there were parts
There.
of Kapanik taken out of her body. I mean, obviously they do like canopic jars and such, but like it seems like they removed other parts.
what other parts?
But well, like we should really go at the start, like and like if you want, but so let's see. I came here, like, I mean, unless you want, it's like just so because I don't want to miss it.
Whatever you think is most important, because there's a whole lot of crap going on right now.
Okay, so I came here secret because I asked to check the unidentified mummy because I had a fairly certain it was her because it was supposed to be from a time that was very old. And oh, hey, I have a picture of him. Oh my god, this guy looks amazing. He looks even better than I
Can you
anticipated.
picture this gnome?
Yes,
I must see.
he looks even better than I anticipated.
I must see my new friend. I simply must.
I'm getting there. I gotta get down to the Movies Fast channel. Whoosh. Look at this man.
I love him.
Sorry, stream. I know that
nice.
Stream, we cannot use
Roger,
artwork
it's-
on
yeah,
stream.
I highly recommend getting the Pestered Sun adventure from Legendary Games, and you definitely can. But yes, this fan is because I did double check their streaming notes, and yeah, they're not cool on the artwork going out, so we're not gonna do that. But yeah, I came in secret because the Embalmers Guild denied me permission to study the mummy. So, and I'd heard about it before. They date it to the years of the Great Plague, so it was a long shot, but I wanted to confirm its identity. So I kind of inadvertently did when the skull-headed Jackalman called out for Kapanik, and the mummy arose to answer, and she kind of just went straight towards him. She wasn't too interested in me until I started locking her in, and then she got mad and tried to start attacking me. But she's a mummy. That shit spreads if she touches you.
Speaking of which, yeah.
Oh yeah, speaking of, I need a fort save from you, buddy.
Yeah.
It has definitely been a minute.
Shit. Defense, fort. Ugh. Can I use like my healer's kit or magic to like get my
You could have
ass
guidance
out
before
there?
that point because combat didn't last 10 rounds, but that wouldn't be enough.
Yeah, no.
So as you probably, and it doesn't even hurt, which is the funniest thing, is you look down as you're talking and look down and realize that yeah, that shit's spreading, and you're starting to look kind of decrepified. Oh my sweet Jesus! All right, you take 5 con damage and 6 charisma damage.
Holy shit.
Shit.
Let
What
me
does that do
scroll.
to my HP with that con damage?
If you apply it to the con damage one, it'll apply your HP relevantly.
Oh no. I might actually go down.
Yeah,
You healed.
you're-
You healed, so I mean,
I
you
didn't
made
heal
it.
much.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
you might pass out here.
Yeah, hold on, let me see. Where's my damage?
It's only gonna be like,
gonna be 6 HP.
yeah,
Yeah, you're gonna lose 6.
no, 4.
So you-
Yeah, it's
so you
gonna be
said
4.
5 con damage and then
Yeah,
6
5 con damage and 6 charisma damage.
I was just starting to feel charismatic.
Yeah, you're still up, but
It's not looking good. Is there anything I can do for myself? Like, can I use like a charge of my healer's kit or anything, or is this like some stuff I have to go back to the Phrasman Church about?
you definitely need help. What you would know is that Mummy's Rot is a curse and disease bolt, and you need to basically what it is the curse utterly defends the disease from getting removed by any means. So you need someone to hit you with a remove curse and then use something that'll get rid of the disease. And then any healing, if it's a healing spell, will not heal you directly. Oh, I forgot to do that during. Oh no, because you hadn't been afflicted yet. It took an onset. So basically, now that it's affecting you, you know that anything that's not a channel energy will basically potentially just do no healing to you.
But channel energy would heal me, right?
Correct.
Okay. Hey, I don't mean to cut this conversation short, my new friend, but it would appear that I'm becoming somehow decrepit, so we should probably head back to the Phrasman Church and wrap up our conversation.
I mean, it's not like it's going to take us 24 hours to get there, and it's not going to really hurt you again. Oh, that's fair. You did just rescue me. I apologize. I can talk as we walk.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
I
can do
imagine
that. We'll have to.
Wait, if you're going outside, we need coverings. I need to go to the storage room and find some cloth and cover my face. And oh my god, I shouldn't be wearing goggles. I'm gonna go.
I'm actually just gonna like take like a blanket out of my bag and just wrap it around him and then pick him up and walk out of here. No, I'm gonna
Anyways.
swaddle him. I'm actually gonna swaddle this gnome.
All right, all right. Oh yeah, wow, you're a strong dwarf. All right. So, anyways, that's how I was.
Yep. Anyway, we're leaving. Continue.
Yeah, that's how I was saying. Caponic. So, like, she's the person I was looking for, right? She was a heretic. She went against the Church of Pharasma, and then in the days of the Great Plague of Boiti. See, she was an orphan groomed by the church to join the clergy. She was supposed to be this like great one that they said was going to be like like really good and really nice to the people. But see, the problem is she really loved the old gods, especially Anubis. So they excommunicated her because that was at the age when they were starting to make them illegal. Because they thought that the plague was related to the old gods. After that, she gathered followers by preaching on the streets, and she even married one of her admirers, a wealthy tax collector named Nehu Thepre. And she had two kids with them. But back then, the clash between the old faith and the new faith, Pharasma was very serious than it seems. Like they were very friendly, but eventually, the old gods as a whole fought with, and Pharasma actually helped fight against them. And Caponic amassed powerful enemies who resented her humble origins and unconventional doctrines. And but according to some letters that I had found, I had some copies of them somewhere. Faru Mafiris was patriarch of the Mafiris family. He engendered the plot to pin the plague on Caponic and say that she made the plague. And Pharaoh is always convinced the population that the madness disease was a result of the apostasy growing in her heart. And then also that she had seeded it within Wati, and then that the sickness would end once the city got rid of all infidels. And so the heretics were killed and driven out of town, but the worst fate fell to Caponic. She watched the cruel murder of her husband and children before facing her own public execution. And some arguably worse yet, some of the at that point, it's some people theorize that that's why the old gods got excommunicated. That because they blamed the thing on them because the tensions were rising, but actually they might not have been at fault. So and then. But yet they say the old gods kept their vigil, and that's why they kept watching because they knew that. But in any case, the mummy got here with like one of the guild members donated the body to the guild, but that feels really convenient. But I found that the guy who donated, his name is Yarrow. I got his address too.
Yarrow. He's one of the Anubis cult members.
No, just one of the guild members, one of the embalmers, and they
just
donated the body.
Happen to have the body.
Yeah, doesn't that feels weird, right?
Very convenient.
Was he happened to be in that first office by the door? Because there was like a.
That's the guild mistress. The guild mistress actually. I met her. She's actually a follower of Anubis in like the proper. She's very. She's actually quite nice.
Oh, she might want that back then.
Yeah, I definitely gotta feel that. It's absolutely in my backpack right now.
I know that's one of the reasons she closed it, because she was worried that if people realized that Anubis followers were potentially behind this. I know that she has a shrine hidden somewhere in here, and because like she kind of made that. She was trying to hide it, but she kind of made it too clear by hiding it, and so I realized that that makes sense. They would probably like burn it down or something. Which even though it's like it might not be Anubis's fault, but who knows?
How did you start your research? What made you believe that the festering sun was because of all this?
Well, that was the verses. I found a poem. See, first I thought it was just like a romantic, like kind of romanticized poem. But I believe now that Caponic ushered the poem verbatim, because curses, especially Osirian curses, are unique in how they challenge our notions of magic. And my research taught me that these cases are that wording matters as much as the intention. So that maybe it is appeasing some obscure patron that is not Anubis, or like maybe she even thought she was worshiping Anubis, but it was actually someone else posing as Anubis and stole her from him. Maybe she would have been loyal, and maybe she thought she was loyal all the time because of like the way it went. It seems to imply that something went wrong.
Right. So she has potentially just been worshiping some pretender this whole time.
Right. But the first verse sets the stage for it all. The festered sun, that's obvious. The crows are most likely observers from the afterlife. I mean, because like Pharasma like uses a lot of crows. Even her like little psychopops that like gather the souls. Gather the they say they really like these kind of things. As he like shakes the jar in his little swaddled hand. So the third verse establishes the targets, all who were conniving with the misdeed perpetrated against Kapanek, because like she thought like they were all trying to like ruin the old gods when it's like I don't know if anyone was at fault, but whoever did it, whoever, and then I imagine that given her hatred after seeing her husband and children die, this probably then extended to all those in Wati who was not a devotee of the old gods because they cost her husband and her innocent children.
How does it end? What's the last part of the curse? Like what? Like worst case scenario, what happens?
We need to break one of the conditions. We cannot stop the festered sun. I mean, unless we had some way to get to the sun and or destroy the stones in front of it. But that would take magic beyond our years.
I agree. What I'm asking is though, like, let's say that we don't. Let's say we fail. What happens? Does it just outright kill everybody? Does a swarm of locusts show up? Do more mummies rise from the dead? Like, what exactly happens?
It's they say it's the sycamore. The sycamore grows, and it's the pivotal point of the curse's final stage. It's some cataclysm that threatens the lives of everyone in the city.
So cataclysmic event. Okay.
Yes, but for the city, maybe not the world.
Yeah, gotcha.
Because this light only casts on this region.
So,
But the interesting thing is that the curse itself was said that it would make you hunger for blood in the verses, and I haven't talked to any of them. Maybe you've talked to the afflicted. Are any of them hungry for blood? Because it reminds me of vampirism. So I don't know if maybe it's related to vampirism, but I hope not.
Would I have?
don't-
Oh no, I definitely wouldn't have. Well, I'll tell you what. We're headed back to the temple anyways. So whenever we get back there, there's many of the afflicted that are around. We'll at least check them whenever we get there.
As sad as it is, if she was manipulated or not, I think that the easiest way to stop it would actually be if we could get rid of all traces of Kapanik's spiritual presence. She is definitely like a linchpin of it, and so it's like, but the problem is we don't know what she is, and Osirian, they piece and parcel out all that you are, and so the mummy you destroyed was probably just part of the puzzle, and we probably, whereas normally like you'd think like, well, we just have to last the festered sun. I think the festered sun is our timer. And at which point, if we don't do it done, then everyone who was in here when this started is probably gonna die.
With that in
I
mind,
don't like that.
yeah. With that in mind, how long is my treatment gonna take?
Well, I mean, it should just be some spell work.
Oh no, I'm not. I'm not asking him. I'm asking you, Cursive. Like,
Oh.
how long?
I mean, to get rid of the damage, that's going to be either quite a few lesser restorations, or probably. And since they're going around town, that's the problem is you might not be able to go back and get rid of it terribly easily. You're gonna have to you're gonna have to find out where they are and go to them. You could go to the church; they may be there, but instead of a guarantee of them being there, it's a roll. But otherwise, yeah, the damage itself heals at 2 per night of bed rest. But the festered sun is said to only last 48 hours max.
If
So
I left this untreated, then I'm pretty fucked, right?
yes, you would die fairly quickly because it's a d6 of con and charisma damage every 24 hours if you fail the check. And the problem is your con's going down because you failed the fort check, so it's going to be harder every failure. So getting it cured
really
is very wise. Yeah, Mummy Rot is a real easy way to kill characters even at higher levels, and at low levels this is very scary. Now, luckily the spells to remove it are free, and the fact that you got that Sebti likes you means that if you find her, she could probably get rid of it if she hasn't used all of her spells. So finding her quick is actually smart, because if she burns all of them healing people, she's going to be like, I need to get my new spells. And so it's like, it would be bad.
As we're traveling back, could I possibly do like a perception or something to try and find information about her? Like, just like, like seeing other priests and priestesses and like, asking them where she is or where they know of her at and like stuff like that.
Just anybody that's seen where the Pharasmans are healing or holding up.
Yeah. So, sorry, I was just double checking if there's anything left in there. Okay. Yeah, so you could do a gather information checks, which would be a perception, diplomacy, bluff, or intimidate, or knowledge local. In which point, a success on those would yield their location.
Perception, let's go.
I'm going local.
Well, I rolled a really bad perception.
I did, yeah.
Deb did very
Dev
well.
did really good.
Yeah, and Deb got high enough to not only know where they are, but she would be able to find Septi the crocodile.
All right, let's go find Septi.
It's going to take another roll. Volta will save For the, or no, that's only when you're looking. That's only once. So I don't need the will save again, but I do need a fort save against the sunblight or the sun. What was it? It was light burn, light.
Light burn.
I said will save.
No,
Fort.
fort. I misspoke in the first one. I apologize.
Oh god, my fort got lower because
Yeah,
of
your
that.
fort's gonna suck.
Oh please. Oh no.
My fort sucked, so you know.
Don't forget showers.
Gonna guess the chill cream's probably worn off at this point.
Yeah, only lasts an
Yeah.
hour.
Char's all right, but Okay, so yeah, your parasol does apply to the damage, but it is 3 points of non-lethal damage to all of you.
Oof.
But you do find out that sorry, I was just double checking. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so you would find out that the actual military, like one of the outposts on the edge of town, is where Septi is, and you get in her direction, but it does take you some time. And as you get there, you're all starting to get rather parched, and even as you create water in your mouths, you're definitely feel just the effects. The water helps, but doesn't stop the damage.
That's after we got to her?
Yeah, that's as you're getting into the outpost. She's busy. It looks like she's working with some people, and she's currently casting a long spell on one person. And the other hand looks like she's using one hand to actually very slowly roll a bandage. Where you can see it looks like she's applied some sort of poultice and is wrapping a bandage around what looks like a kind of like a really bad sunburn. Even though everyone's sitting in the utter dark, it looks like almost pitch black in this room.
Even though I'm actually like pretty hurt, could I just actually use like a heal check to help her like tend some people?
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's actually +2 on that because oh wait, no, never mind. I already have the healing kit equated. So 26.
Yeah, you help her out and take over one, and she kind of gives you a nod, and you see a moment as she looks you up and down, and just especially your blackened arm where that thing touched you, and how it's spreading, and just but she does stop and lets you work with them for a bit before going to rise. And as she does, just I had no doubt that if this, with all that going, you are probably all doing some good.
Killed a mummy.
I
Yep.
see that.
Yeah.
I can very clearly recognize that on your arm. I assume you weren't in the necropolis.
No.
No, we were finding this one. I hold up a swaddled gnome.
He just hi.
The House of Hallowed Resurgence.
I mean, I suppose I shouldn't be surprised that the embalmers had a undead there. We're getting reports of a something walking about. It walks like a man, but it's said to be made of pure magic.
Is she aware of like what it is we've been tasked to do? Like, is she like up
You can
to
ask her.
speed on what's going on? I'll ask her. Are you aware of like what it is we got asked to do today?
Depends on if you took the. Did you take the order from the representative from the council?
Yes.
Then yes, I'm aware of what you've been tasked. I don't know the details. I know that they said they had some other leads that they were going to go after. I know that my compatriots in the military half of my church are currently in the necropolis, and I've been working on saving as many lives as I can.
Basically, this gnome guy here, he knew this was going to happen. He tried to warn people, and everyone's like, haha, you're an idiot. And now he's, well, probably not happy that he was right, but
Yeah, I don't really like
he's
being
right.
right, especially when it's all happening, it's all bad. And you know, we should probably check the Anubian camp. That's where I think, and also like that Yarrow
Yeah.
guy's thing, that Yarrow guy's address. I think I gave you that address. I also have some stuff out of the cabinet that I was in because there was a lot of reading material. And then you'd see as she reaches over and just covers his mouth, and she's like, "Okay, I would love to get brought up to speed, honestly, but I have so many things to deal with, and I don't know if I'll be able to assist you other than just obviously like." And she looks at this like, "I need to call someone that, but they are luckily, I think, still here. But we need to deal with that."
Yeah,
Because
we
of-
really just need help
Yes.
dealing with this so that we can get back onto what we're doing. That's all we're here for.
Yeah, Sarik is kind of
There's
melting.
somewhat of a yeah. There's multiple time sensitive events going on right now.
Yes. Wait. Time sensitive?
Well, because I gather that if we don't fix things before the festering sun is gone, and then Greg just makes kind of like a very much like dead face kind of expression.
Yeah,
But
Oh,
you see, as she looks at one of her acolytes, and then just like, you mean it won't just go away?
I mean,
I'm
I think
gonna-
it just kills everybody at that point.
Yeah, I'll give her the quickest synopsis and like overview is like what exactly we know about the curse, and then I'll also read her the poem and be like, we need to get this done before the sycamore. Like
He takes a deep breath and sighs as even her acolyte looks like, wait, you're really like there's kind of a silent look of wait, did you believe this? But she stops and just they've been trustworthy so far. I don't have any reason to doubt their
I'll be honest, you'd be stupid not to believe it at this point. This fucking gnome was being attacked by a mummy in a building he wasn't supposed to be in about a curse that everybody's been telling him that he's stupid about. So there's no reason to doubt this at any point, right? Because it's objectively been worse than it's ever been. We have reason to believe that it's different than it's ever been.
this
No
is a
reason to
citywide
continue
curse.
doubting.
This is really bad. I have no reason to doubt them even before that. So she meant no disrespect. It's just it's we've been it means that everything we've been advising for everyone around is actually the opposite of what we've needed. We told people to bunker down and just wait and it'll get better. If that's the case, then
it's not
she
going to
shakes
get
her head.
better. Yeah, we need to fix this.
Okay. But she points at the girl who kind of made a face and just like, you go get me buns and we will take care of his curse. She looks at you and just, I have the remove curse. He should have some disease removals left. I have spent all of mine getting rid of these. Luckily, it seems even the blindness is cured by disease removing magic. But
Yeah, this is getting uncomfy, but not as bad as Sarik. Sarik is melting.
stay in the dark as much as you can. If you have a lantern rather than like a light spell, it'll do you better good. Dim light.
I'd be willing to help her since I can see in the dark.
I mean, I can
And
see in
it's,
the dark too.
it's her
If you-
stuff. It's her trying to task out for my stuff anyways. So like,
Yeah, she doesn't seem like she's.
Great light.
She doesn't like seem like like she seems just human, but at the same time she's been working in the dark and doesn't seem that hindered. But even as she moves around, you see her walking at a quick speed, which is usually not the case if someone can't see. But yeah, she put out that if you're in bright light and you're afflicted by the sun curse, but not the blinding curse, any sort of bright light will cause your burns to accelerate. You need to stay in the dark. We've learned that.
Yeah, there was something in the poem about that.
But you'd see as the young girl comes back with a guy who's looks to be on a bit on the older, has a bit of a small mustache, but very dark hair, but otherwise shaved on the rest. But he comes over and she's like, "We have mummy touch. The mummy rats has already taken roots, so you're going to handle the disease portion, provided you still have some left." As he holds out a wand, and then she's like, "All right, you are going to take that, and when I tell you to, you're going to press it to him."
I think Sarik being socially awkward is going to try it like an attempt at humor and be like, never goes to press the wand and be like, oh my god, why would you? No, I'm just joking. I'm fully joking.
Fair enough. Oh shit! Did I just reroll? Good. Okay. So as she removes curse, and like you'd see for a moment that it seems to kind of the blackness of it just seems to turn to kind of like a sickly green, but looks a little more natural. But and then sure enough, he goes to press in, but then you'd see as it all vanishes. The damage remains. You still feel a lot weaker, but I do need
That's
to roll.
okay.
Do you need to roll to see how many she has left? She has the greatest chance for some left, but okay, so she has 5 casts left. So she would definitely spend them. Since you brought her good info and you already have good relationships with her, so there's no need for a roll to convince her to spend more than a couple on you. Normally she only spends a few per person.
Be right back.
So
What is she spending, by the way? These are uses of a
Restoration.
wand.
Lesser restoration.
Oh, okay.
She removes all of your con damage because she would focus on that first because that
Oh,
could kill
thank
you.
God.
And then she does get rid of your charisma as well, but then she stops and just, you need to promise me something, Sarik.
Hmm.
You need to make good use of this because I've gotten rid of all of this for you, but I've been using a lot of this magic for the people around town. I have faith that you will find this and end this, but if we are all at faith, it makes more sense to get it off of you first. But you have to promise me you will do this.
You have my word. Now I'll go ahead and write it down in my book.
Oh yeah, we're working on it.
Yeah, to which she's actually going to pull out her holy symbol and unleashes a charge of her own as she channels and heals all of you. Which the
Nice.
minimum would be enough to cap up all of you, even if you were at 0 HP.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she has damage per die, and she does 8d6. So,
8d6. Holy shit.
she's a potent caster, and she has a
Is
Phylactery positive channeling, which increases her by 2d6 more.
this is the not the leader, but the other girl.
This is Septi the Crocodile. This is the one that's been helping you for most of the adventure.
I will actually, because I grabbed 2 of them. I will give her my full healer, like my second healer's kit, like the one that doesn't have any charges used out of it. This is a means to help some of the refugees and other folk around town.
Yeah, which normally you can see if she gives it a look like she almost wants to make you give her, then she gives a nod. She's like, "Thank you.
Yeah, you're
It'll
welcome.
go to good use." I imagine that we're going to go through every last bit of it. He
I would
stops.
love to stay and help you as I could, but I figure I'm more help out there. So
Some of my acolytes believe that the light is intensifying to the point that even not direct light is starting to affect people, which does
Fun.
which does lend to that there could be an
Yeah.
end to this that is not good. We're considering having people flee underground, even potentially into the necropolis.
I'm worried about that whole drinking the blood part.
do you have that actually reminds me, do you have anybody, obviously everybody here is afflicted. I'm not even gonna ask her. Can I just like listen, do you mind if I just inspect some of the afflicted really quick? I'm not gonna do anything invasive.
By all means.
I just want to check these afflicted and anybody who's conscious, right, and is like coherent. I would like to ask them like if they have a thirst for blood or if they feel like they have a desire for blood.
Yes.
That's just normal.
It'd be weird if I didn't.
Yes, clearly that's what would be weird.
But yeah, I just want to like go around and just ask the ones that are like, everybody's obviously disturbed, but like, the ones that are, more or less rational right now.
We haven't tried. I mean, I don't thirst for it. No, one of them kind of looks and just. But you see, as Septi's kind of following you, and she's like, "Does blood assist?"
No, it's a theory. What's her name again? I'm gonna hold up the
Yep.
swaddled gnome.
Yep.
Right, my friend here has a theory that it is something similar to vampirism, and he is trying to ascertain as to if these people are thirsting for blood. It's just another
Graves,
thing to knock off while we're here.
the Lady of Graves may take me for suggesting this, but honestly, if so many are due to die to this, and it could potentially, provided it doesn't outright turn them. God damn it! I could offend her beyond belief if I'm incorrect. She actually goes to kneel by the one you're talking to. She's like, "I could try. I would be happy to try with my own if it potentially could."
What are you gonna? Are you gonna try to what?
Give her blood.
Give a taste of my own. If there's any
Oh,
that is purer, I would rather it be from someone who shouldn't be able to be turned undead.
I mean,
uh,
it's worth a try, I guess. If nothing else is helping.
I mean, we're just asking them if they have like a want for it, right? Like that's all we're doing. We're just asking if they have a desire for it.
I understand, but I did not even consider that such a thing would potentially work.
Yeah, if
Okay.
it's something that maybe is imposed or required.
Then
Is a
Go ahead
curse.
and offer, and I'm not announcing this out loud, cursive, but I am going to ready a command halt on
Yeah.
the person in case something goes down.
Yeah, to which you see as she takes out a small atame and just pricks her pinky and just takes a bit before just kind of putting it across like a medical slide and then just offering it to the guy who kind of looks at it with like a bit of like he definitely looks green around the gills, but she's like, it's an ancient curse. A lot of times they're literal. To which he nods and just kind of goes to just kind of place it in his mouth and kind of pull it out as he's grimaces a bit, but then he kind of pauses and looks, and you'd see as the blemishes on his skin and even the swelling immediately goes down.
Oh. Well, I don't
We
know if the end result would be good, but you may have found temporary treatment.
Yeah. We need to, sir, we need to watch you for a while. I'm going to leave one of my acolytes with you. Because if you begin to thirst or if you begin to, heavens forbid, turn, we need to know that that's an effect. Yeah, I did wonder if it might be related to vampirism. It seems like it could be, but then again, vampires are supposed to come from a very specific source. Like, like related more to like the shadows and stuff, which doesn't make sense that they'd come from the sun. The sun kills
I'm
them.
gonna put my
So,
hand right over his mouth.
Sunpires.
Sunfires, I love it. All right,
Weak in the shadow, strong in the sun.
ma'am, it would seem that your hands are full here, and I have an entire gnome and a half that I need to tote around town in the blistering sun. So,
best of luck.
and you as well. Thank you very much for the healing. I will make it worthwhile.
As I would trust of a Magramite. And she gives a little bit of a smile, but a kind of grim one at that.
Give her a quick wink, and then yeah, I will. Yeah, I'll just go ahead and take my leave.
We are looking at about 10:45 and a good stopping point before the next one comes up.
Yeah.
I was going to say though one thing so it doesn't get forgotten. The books that he mentioned that he brought with and the stuff that he kind of took from the library that he was reading. If you give me an appraise check, one person can do it. You cannot aid in it, but you could potentially find. Basically, there's a chance of finding spell work of your choice. What it specifically potentially is if you make the check, it's an appraise check. You would find enough materials for 5 levels of spells of your choice into either scrolls or immediately to scribe into spell books or formula books or familiars.
Oh wow!
So basically, if you are something that can learn from scrolls or turn directly into scrolls, you get 5 spell levels if you make the check. So if someone wants to make that check, that would. And then also he does give you his scroll. He gives you his chime of opening with 2 charges, as well as his scroll of blood biography, a scroll of comprehend languages, and and then he would also give you the scroll to make whole and the wand of the wand from the box. I can't think of it. It's something undead. The disrupt undead. I couldn't think of the word. So he gives it all to you and hopes, and then offers it. He'll happy to help you with anything knowledge wise, and even go and wait other places. But he's more of a scholar than an adventurer. He has a bard that could assist in certain bits, but otherwise, basically, he becomes an NPC that you can. Since you guys were kind to him and allowed him to talk, because he lacks in most combat skill. But otherwise, he gives you the contents of the box. He does hold on to the pickled soul, just because he's. But otherwise, or at least says as if you promise not to eat it, because he's fairly certain if there is anything that could be done with if the crows are talking about Pharasmans, he thinks it'd be useful. So you can take it with you, but he definitely thinks that you should probably save it for that.
There was 3 scrolls, right? I'm sorry, I got on the loot list a little
A
bit
scroll
late.
of make whole, a scroll of comprehend language, and a scroll of blood biography.
Comprehend language and blood biology. Okay. Okay, so just going over what he gave us, just make sure I have it all. Well, hold on a second. I'm dumb. Biology. Okay. Jesus Christ. He gave us the charm of opening with 2 charges, right?
Correct.
He gave us a scroll of make whole, scroll of comprehend languages, scroll of blood biology, and then the wand of turn undead.
Biography.
Biography. Jesus Christ. But is that it?
That sounds right.
Okay. Do we know how many uses the wand has?
The one has 50 charges is totally charged.
Right. As far as the praise check goes, I have a 7. I don't know if anybody else is better.
I have
Yours is higher than
0.
mine. Mine's a 5, but if you have a 7, I'd rather you do it.
Hobbs?
3.
Yeah, 11.
Okay, unfortunately, I mean, from what you can tell, it doesn't seem to have anything of worth between what he's reading.
Bump, bump.
Oh, well. Okay. Well, loot list is officially updated. I'll put a bug in your like either tomorrow or another day. Cursive about prices on like holy symbols, obsidian signets, and all that other good stuff. But I'm not dealing with it right now.
Not like we can sell it right now.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. But yeah. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with the session actually.
Right? The whole mummy beating down the door while we light it on fire was fun.
That was cool. Detective bits were cool.
Aren't you glad I closed the door?
I'm super.
You guys did really good. You guys did really good tactics in that because I was so afraid after the first hit. I'm like, oh my god. And then I saw Deckle there, and I'm like, oh my god. I'm gonna just like, if I like go up and like, because like if Deckle fails his save, this thing's gonna
SO
this
opening turn.
yeah, this thing's literally gonna 5 foot up and coup de grace Deckle if he fails his will save, and I'm just like, no, I don't want to do that. And then I was like, what about the dog? No, I'm just I
Yeah,
am so happy. You guys did very well.
that was a terrifying fight. But hey, I'm feeling a lot better about a command build now. Feeling much better about it.
Yeah, you're doing very well.
Jesus Christ, that was so scary. All
I
right.
am glad you had fun with it. I hope you guys have been lighting the atmosphere for it too, since I've been working hard for.
Yeah.
Of course. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and do my sign off real quick.
Don't forget, everyone in each chat, we have Weimer's game on Sunday.
Yeah, everybody in everybody's chat. Hey, first off, hello. Glad to hear from you. Feel free to drop a follow in whatever chat you're in. If you feel like hanging out with other people, go check them out. Drop them a follow too.
Hey, can we get introspective cavalry before you go?
As we wrap up another day of killing mummies and running our way around finding gnomes, we must ask ourselves, are we really just swaddled in our own emotion? Or are we just finding ourselves trapped inside of the burning building of our own minds? Really, if you think about it, it's one and the same. Aren't we all just swaddled inside of a burning building? I guess so.
I love it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, I'm gonna do my sign off real quick, and I'll be right back.
Bye,
Alrighty.
Associate Goblin's chat.
Same here. 1 second.
Hello, I love that emote. The waggy tail is wonderful. Oh, I should see if there's. Well, actually, you know what? Well, I should actually probably mute in Discord so I'm not talking over the other twos. But I hope you guys had fun.
Yeah.
The people in my chat. I mean, I suppose Declan. I suppose it depends if you want me to do it with in your ear or not.
Fine. I'm just going to find someone to drop my people off at, and you can go ahead.
All right, you know what? All right, so we're gonna take from Goblin. We're gonna do a picker wheel. So, anyone in chat, if you want to pick a game that we're gonna go find to send everybody to link us to a random new person that could get some attention. So we're gonna do. So if you want to mention a game, a thing, it could be just chatting. It could be we could look for tabletop RPGs, whatever you want to suggest. By all means, because that's a fun idea. We're gonna try it. So if you guys have anything you want for us to go raid, please put it in chat, and I will try to facilitate. Otherwise, I'll just pick a random person off my related list, and then we'll go there.
Game.
Nick, any suggestions?
Vampire Survivor.
Vampire Survivor. All right, Vampire Survivor's going on the list. Just so I can. Not that I should really be thinking about. I'm gonna put Pokemon Red, just out of all things.
I am back.
Welcome back, Crixus. Give us a game to potentially go after.
What?
We're doing your thingy.
Oh, you're doing the
That's
wheel? Ooh,
my
the
chat's not
wheel.
picking, so I'm asking the people in the chat or in the Discord.
Okay. Risk of Rain 2.
Good choice.
Dead by Daylight.
If you want
All
another
right.
one, then Overwatch. It makes me so happy that other people are doing that now. It makes me
It's
so
a
happy.
fun idea. No one in chat. Come on, none you guys want to get in on this? All right.
Who's around besides us? Maybe.
I'm just gonna do it. I don't want to wait because I'm just gonna bleed out people.
Maybe,
All right.
maybe the only one.
So let's see if I can turn this over to that one. Just capture 2 so you guys can see it. Boo.
It's a Gurren Lagann song. I was about to say, uh-oh.
Oh.